this show?
Well, hold on, before that, like, as you're here, James, how are you? You good? Hello?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Good.
great.
He's just as great as you. You know, when I ask you in the show, I'm like, bro, how you doing? You're like, all right.
Yeah, James is much more on my end of things and Tyler's much more on your end of things.
Yeah, me and Tyler were like, well, I just had this big old day. I did a fucking run that nobody cares about.
Right.
I watched some UFC and it's fucking great.
I did this big old run that nobody cares about.
Nobody cares about his run, but he talks about
just
it.
pictures of him running or talking about the UFC as if anyone cares about either of those things.
Oh man, I like this show. I should come on more often.
This is it. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Tyler's on here, we're doing the exact same conversation, but with you.
For sure.
We're just like, fucking dickhead, James, innit?
That's
It's
alright.
usually,
I don't listen to
beefing
it.
you out about, like, if you're too busy, but, like, what do you have going on? It's not like you ever leave the house, that kind of thing.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Classic,
For the record, like, no matter what, we would say all of this to everyone's face. I don't want any twisted ideas here.
We're not holding anything behind your back. You're just not here when we say it.
Right.
We say it in
Of
front of your
course,
face.
yeah.
Exactly. Same
I
with Tyler.
consciously avoid it.
We're literally bringing Tyler to the UK so we can say it to his face. And when I say we, it's on his own dime.
We're like, can you pay to come here so we can talk shit in your face? There we go. All right, let's get this show on the road, shall we, boys?
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Oh my God, his nodding face nods anytime his mic picks up audio.
When he talks,
Yeah.
it's kind of
that's gonna be
distracting.
great.
It's weird.
I didn't. The reason why we're not doing the video part is because we don't want to see your face. Can you turn that off, please?
I'm really concerned I didn't hit play record on the thing.
Oh, you're concerned? Okay, he's just checking the camera. Hold on.
Oh God. I know I did, but like, I did.
You did. Good.
I'm professional.
Fuck. Now I'm thinking, did I? No, I did it. I did for sure. Besides, it's only your video if it doesn't work out. So.
Right, exactly. The talent, only the reason people sign on and tune in
Right.
is to see this gorgeous face of mine.
To hear your terrible anime takes.
Shut
The fact that you like anime.
James,
that's the
are you an
terrible take.
anime guy?
I'm not opposed to anime.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
That was a perfect pause, isn't it?
I'm not opposed.
Yeah,
to
keeping you on your
anime.
toes. Yeah.
Cool. Let's do this thing.
Okay. What's happening? I hit the mic. Let's start that one more time. That's going to be in the video. What's happening, everybody? And welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, I went on this run that nobody cares about.
It's true.
I went in the UFC and I watch UFC matches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's all fantastic. Sorry, it was a Tyler joke we had before this. No, I'm doing fantastic today.
Yeah.
We got a lot of really cool shit to talk about. We got some gaming news that's popped up just yesterday. Thank you, Sony, for doing it the day before we record and not after. Yeah, and a lot of cool shit. Nothing else to mention though.
No, nothing particularly interesting other
Oh,
than...
thank God, I can leave.
There you go. Please do, okay? See, now we have to fight back with him, even though we do want him to stay for a little bit.
Yeah, it was us to reach out to him.
Exactly. We are joined today by none other than GamerVids himself, LazerzZ HD.
I always forget
Laserbeam.
about that one.
Hello, everyone.
The born again Final Fantasy simp himself, James. How you doing, bro?
True. I'm great. I'm really good. I'm glad to be here. How are you guys?
We are doing great. We're thankful that you decided to come on. It was there is this not joke because not many people know about it. It's sort of like within our circles. We're like, James, mate, he doesn't love to do podcasts. His passion's more the video projects, video essays and stuff like that, which he's barely good at. But he
makes them.
That's his. He makes them.
Say that he
Yeah, I
makes them.
try.
That's true.
You know.
That's his thing. So podcast isn't really the number one priority in this, and that's fine for us. It is maybe the other way around for other people.
Yeah,
And
he
for the
likes to
longest
make
time-
content, and we like to just talk.
Yeah, just talk shit. For the longest time, I'm like, James, do you want to come on a podcast, or is that like taking up time that you could be doing something that you really like doing?
Yeah, look,
for the
I
longest
come
time-
on. We have this unspoken deal. I come on once a year. Last year it was February.
Yeah.
This year it's July. Next year, I could be dead by next year.
I mean,
hopefully,
fingers
anyway.
crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
but
So,
thank you for
you know.
fulfilling your contractual obligations.
Shit,
Yeah.
was it really? Did
You're
you?
welcome.
Do you
It was a
actually only
while.
come once a year? Is that what?
I think it has been.
I
yeah.
think
I
it
should
has been a
rephrase
year. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Damn.
Not
God.
100%, but
All
it
right,
might have been.
All right.
Well,
yeah,
look,
so
we
we-
appreciate you coming on. And talking of people we want to come on, our super bros over on patreon.com/conversations, who make everything happen here
That was really
at
good.
Conversations.
Oh god. We don't always get a great one like that, but when we do, fucking hell, that was a good. That's going up
That
there,
was
number top spot right there.
Who do we have to thank?
We have Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsbook, speaking of cum, right there. Sabine from Smallville, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling. Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger. Not to be confused with any other Avenger. He's a real Avenger, okay? He's there.
The
He's there.
Jeremy. I know you're thinking, oh, it's a guy with the name. No, it's the Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy
That's
Renner.
right.
You can tweet him. You should tweet him and double check.
Yeah. Did you see that? James, did you ever see my tweet that I did of Jeremy Renner when he was tweeting out, I think he was just tweeting out something like
I
happy
do remember
whatever
this,
day
yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that. And, oh no, be thankful for everything. He
Yeah.
was just being thankful. And I was like, we
Right. It was
also thank
Thanksgiving.
you, Jeremy Renner, for being a supportive Patreon over at patreon.com/conversation.
Yeah.
Could you imagine him seeing that? He goes, what the fuck is he talking about?
These guys block.
the fuck is that?
Maybe it's
Funnily-
him.
Maybe it is him. We
It could
we
be.
just see his name on Patreon. That's all we know.
Yeah.
That's all we know.
Oh.
The real Jeremy Renner at
No,
gmail.com.
really, it is me.
Super Sus, Ben Fryer, the Filthy Thief Fanatic, Joe McCormack, Clark, the 53rd, My Juicy Left Nut, the super sexy producer, Sean, Chris, the Ghost of Tsushima hater. I've seen him right
I
in the
think it's
Discord
racial,
server.
to be honest.
Borderline right there. I've seen him right there. And Gamsmaster, the leader of the Empire, the fearless one, the great Lord Vader himself. Step cousin who isn't really related to anyone of importance. He just likes to be involved.
Right.
So yeah,
He gets the invite to the family dinners, but like no one cares if he
Lord
doesn't.
Vader's step cousin. That's what
Right.
he is. Thank you guys so much for
Step-cousin.
keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at the True Gamer Podcast. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Right
So
there.
look,
Yes.
big news, and luckily we have Game of Vids himself here to talk about it. I'm just going to lead into it. James has been playing Final Fantasy. He's closing in on Final Fantasy 9. How are you feeling about? How are you feeling about the series so far?
I really thought you was going to talk about the big news.
I'm so
I
glad
got
you've
all
asked. We
excited.
can hijack this thing now. We don't have to talk about PlayStation. Thank
Here we
God.
go. Here we go.
Yeah,
we're going to
that's
talk about everything but this. Okay, all right, go on. I'll sit myself. Let me talk amongst you two nerds talking about your last
JRPGs.
fantasies, whatever the hell it is you're talking about here.
Yeah.
I
Go
just,
on.
Yeah.
it is funny because I've genuinely been wanting to talk to James about Final Fantasy, especially as he is closing in on How Dare You on number 9, which
Yeah.
I know. I assume you've been enjoying the series. I see your tweets.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been great. It's good. I say this all the time, but it's funny that I've made my job playing games, but the games that get me the most views I don't even like. The games I
Yeah.
actually like to play are like, JRPGs. Over the last few
Right.
years, I've really got into them and I
Like
love
2
them.
or 3 decade old games.
Explains
Yeah.
why I
Yeah,
played Assassin's
yeah.
Creed for so
It's
long.
like it's been fun to get into Final Fantasy
And you're on
and play through 'em.
6, correct?
I finished 6 the other day, so
Okay, and
7
and-
soon.
You're onto the act. Have you played 7 before, or was 7 remake your first go
Remake
into
was the
things?
first, so I've
Yeah.
never played 7, and I know nothing about it. So
Cool. Oh, you're in for some big events and probably spoilers, obviously, for the remake. I assume they're following close. I haven't played the new version. Played the OG. There's some pretty major things. All I'll say. Do you know what? I won't say anything. Let me know when you get to 9, because 9 is unironically one of my favorite games of all time. I know a bunch of little helpful tips and tricks to get you started, and like, oh god, I love that game. I want to talk. We'll do a podcast, you, me, and Ed, of just you and me talking about Final Fantasy 9.
No, I really appreciate you guys wanting to be included in this, but I'm busy that day.
Well, don't worry, we can
Such a small job.
we can fit it on another day.
I mean, you
just
know,
to include you.
don't inconvenience yourselves.
We want
I
to
mean,
make sure you're
honestly,
there, man.
You know,
Wouldn't want you to miss out.
What we
really
could do-
appreciate it, but I would strongly.
How about this? We'll do a live meetup, Four Pillars Conbrosations meetup, and
Sounds
just make it
awful.
into a live podcast
Oh,
in front of everyone, so you
do you know
have
what?
the support network
I
there.
genuinely, I love podcasting so much that I dream about moments
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
If you used to do a live podcast and
But
you
it's
guys
about
were to
JRPGs.
hijack it
But
and
it's
you
about
fucking
Final
start
Fantasy
talking,
9
I
specifically.
would
Yeah.
Yeah,
lose
just
my
9.
shit the way that James theorizes he would lose his shit and kill himself.
Yeah.
That's the way I would do it. Just off myself
Just do
right
it on
there.
stage.
Just right there on stage. I'm like, no, fuck it. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. I was not doing this shit. Oh,
Cool. Well,
God.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, James. I don't. The only reason I ask is I don't think there's anything really of any importance, like otherwise, that's happened. Nothing
You know
breaking.
what? Shut up, all
No,
of you guys, and
nothing
let's
at
get
all.
right into this main topic. Nothing else matters in the world because, ladies and gentlemen, we officially have a God of War Ragnarok release date. Let's kick it right into our usual podcast. What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the Is God of War Delayed or Not podcast, a podcast within a podcast, but hosted by one of your boys, Eddie, and your other bro, the inverted
I
gamer
am
himself, Sheps.
attending. Yeah.
Exactly. How you doing today, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for including me on a podcast within a podcast.
Within a podcast, yeah.
I just have this intuition that this episode is going to be short.
It's gonna be fairly short. It's like, no, it hasn't been delayed. We've got an official release date, guys. So we've been doing this for the past couple of weeks.
Literally most of the year.
There's been
actually.
every week has been like Ragnarok looks like it's going to be delayed. Actually, looks like it's coming out. Actually, looks like it's
Definitely
going to be
getting
delayed.
Well, Corey said that it wasn't.
Corey said it
Right.
wasn't. So every week we've had a podcast within a podcast talking about whether or not it's going to be delayed.
And I'll say we
Amazing.
couldn't
We've got the
really
answer.
trust Corey because he said it was coming in 2021.
Exactly.
So
He did say
Fucking
that.
bastard. So, God of War Ragnarok is officially launching on the 9th of November, 2 days away from the Starfield's original day.
yes, that's rough, isn't it?
It was. I was really worried they were going to do 11/11. That would have been a little bit petty, in my opinion.
I think it would have been hilarious.
I would have laughed about it, but I would have been like, "Come on, man, come on! Don't rub the salt in the wounds. Don't do that."
I did think, because it was formatted in the American way, that they were releasing it on 9/11, and I was a bit
Yeah.
confused.
Oh my
What
god.
the fuck?
And then I realised that it was formatted the other way. I was like, oh no, it's the 9th of November.
right.
But, you know,
like,
so that was a bit
Jesus.
of a shock at first, but, you know.
I thought it was September as well, but only because I thought, oh, that's sooner rather than later. And you just realized,
Right.
made me realize that would be 9/11. That would have been worse.
I do want to mention as well, we mentioned, talking of Corey, that he
Yes.
had responded to a bunch of people saying, no, it wasn't delayed. And he put out a tweet about a day ago, 23 hours ago. Hey, Randy, are you ready?
Do you know about this tweet, James?
No.
So Corey Borlaug was tweeting randomly about something that he was thankful for, right? And then one guy called the Gamer 1988 says, "Why don't you just tell us all that Ragnarok is delayed so that we can move on and plan the rest of our year? Seriously, this is getting frustrating." And Corey Borlaug replied saying, "It's not." Literally last week.
It's not delayed, yeah.
It's not delayed. And then someone called Randy McReady said, "Then when the hell is it? Why are we waiting so long?" And then Corey Borlaug replied simply saying, "Randy, we're not McReady."
Yeah.
Because his name, and it was the best interaction ever. And then to reveal the release date, he was like, "Randy, are you McReady?" Just right.
Yeah.
It was a good.
That's
it was a good
amazing.
little thing with him. Anyway,
That's fun.
yeah, so God of War Ragnarok is official. It's happening. It's coming the 9th of November. Everyone get excited. It was announced rather unceremoniously.
Yeah.
Just a random tweet on a Wednesday on Twitter.
How's this
Yeah.
okay? How is this okay?
Our last episode was literally titled "Is PlayStation Losing Touch with Fans?"
Yeah.
Because we said, like, they don't do shows anymore. They've got these state of plays with this anonymous voice, just random woman speaking, and it's a very, very different from the back in the day, the 2016s, where we used to have these amazing big shows with live orchestras and everyone would get excited and talk about it for weeks afterwards.
And it's not like no one's doing these events. Xbox, for all the bad we can say about them, are putting on shows. They have no games to show, but they're putting on shows.
Exactly. And I think that's part of the reason why Xbox is where they are right now. They've sold like 15 million units of their consoles.
Yeah.
Granted, probably like 80% of those are Series S's, but still they're selling consoles. They've got X number of subscribers on Game Pass. Again, granted, most of them probably $1 codes or people bought 3 years and not under promotion. But whatever, they're still there. But where they should be completely dead by not bringing out games. And PlayStation just seemed to be like, we're not going to put any effort into our announcements. We're just going to announce our biggest game ever in a tweet.
Yeah, we'll just tweet it out. I mean, it's not worth doing, like, I don't know, a big event. No one vibed with the original.
No.
Reveal.
And no one liked the reveal of the original game as well.
It's true. That didn't set crowds literally on their feet cheering.
No.
Well, it was bad.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
and this isn't the most anticipated sequel to a game ever.
Ever. No.
So,
in fairness,
let's just
worse than they could have done. I know James will agree because he hates gameplay trailers. We saw that with Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, exactly.
Is give us a gameplay trailer with, say, 15 minutes of someone playing the game.
Right.
That would have been awful.
That would have been awful.
The way it was done, originally with when they set the bar on how to reveal games.
It's so
What's
fucking
wrong
strange.
with these guys?
This is what I mean. So, for those of you guys,
odd,
James, you don't watch our podcast because you're a weirdo and you don't have good taste.
You don't like to be entertained.
It's got nothing to do with my like or dislike for podcasts. I just don't like you two specifically.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. It's us, not you.
That's
but
what it is. Yeah.
We frequently say, as people who are fans of Sony do this thing where they're like 2 steps forward, 1 step fucking back.
Yeah, it feels like they go 2 steps forward and then do one of those roly polies as a kid. You know when a kid first learns how to roll, they go wee.
Exactly.
All the way back.
So they've got this amazing. They're like funnel this money into a great sequel, reboot stuff, get the projects going that need to go, greenlight the right stuff, and then cancel the stuff that doesn't that is just detrimental, is going on a bad path. And then when it comes to this reveal, they just sort of like push it out the door, like as if it's nothing, as if it's a third-party contract that they don't really want to be in.
As if it's a kid. You married their mum when the kid was like 6 months old. You said you'd raise it as your own, but you never really loved it. And you're like, it's 18, right? Out. You cool. I thought you were my dad. I'm not really. Bye.
James, seeing as we've spoken about God of War for the whole of time.
And unwanted children.
And unwanted children. So it's worse because I'm the only one with a child here, and
it's true.
If we're talking anyway, let's not talk about.
Everybody's gonna have this conspiracy. Is Isla unloved?
Isla was unloved, and they're gonna look at streams where she makes one noise. We're like, was that a cry for help? Was that? How do you feel about? How excited are you for God of War? What did you think about this reveal? What do you think about the date, etc.?
Yeah.
Go wild.
Forget that it's not on Game Pass, because obviously we know for you that's a deal breaker.
That's a deal breaker.
True, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. God of War, I'm as excited as I've ever been for Ragnarok. I mean, God of War 1 was fucking phenomenal. It was one of my favorite games of all time. I'm still as excited as I've ever been for God of War, but I am like really curious about what's going on behind the scenes, because there's got to be a reason why this marketing has been so the opposite of what Sony normally does. Yeah, it's so underwhelming, it's so nothing, and people have said like, well, maybe they're trying to keep it secret, and I get where you're coming from, but I don't think this is like an Avengers Endgame where it's planned. I think this is not planned, because we've had like reports that they were ready to do like a reveal or like an event, and then it got pushed back, or plans changed and things like that. And obviously you don't know exactly how credible those reports are, but it's interesting because it's like, well, what is happening behind the scenes? Like, originally they said it was coming out in 2021, and like, surely they knew that was never going to happen.
They must have known that. Yeah.
If they believed it, then they were the only people that believed it, right? Because we didn't believe it.
Even you were like, "No, this isn't real." The other thing to think about here is that they're getting all of the marketing wrong. Like we've seen that still of Kratos and Atreus like facing off against Fenrir, the giant wolf.
Yeah.
That's the box art. That's got to be right. No, it's just them standing in a static pose. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
What?
That's weird.
Like, all of the marketing's off. So I'm really like, I wonder if like they had a bunch of their marketing team quit, and this is just like game developers like, yeah, that's good enough.
There's an element of strangeness to all of this because there's stuff that I've seen, and I'll talk a little bit about it in a second. There's stuff that I've seen in just the reveal of the collector's edition and the Jotnar edition I'm going to talk about in a bit that shows that they have put serious thought into this game.
Yeah.
Even from the first one, there's things that I saw in the first game, but without the context, I don't know what that means,
right,
or where it's going, or if it's even going to be relevant. But just seeing the collector's edition box, and it's one of those shrines that you open up and it tells a story. The specific story that they've chose for that was in God of War 2018. And it's very clear that that's where they're going in the story, and it's a very big part of the story. And I was like, wow, they had that much foresight and that much planning. That shows that they're really thinking about this franchise and this game and stuff like that. But then you have the reveal, and it looks like they didn't think about it 1 fucking second.
Right.
And I'm so confused, and I don't know what to think about it.
Or like, there's no gameplay, but hey, we already gave you gameplay. Like, no, but
It's not enough. That wasn't even
enough.
I was
Also, you
saying
reuse your animations.
Yeah.
Bastards.
You guys reuse animations.
It's just a
nothing.
DLC.
It's
right,
what it is.
Exactly.
They're trying to
Thank
pull
you.
the wool over our eyes.
Yeah,
That's
bastards.
it.
They thought we wouldn't notice, but we would notice because we're two gamers here with GamerVids himself.
Exactly.
Of course we
Exactly.
notice. Now I know.
I bet you they'll charge $70 for this as well. Fucking can't
bastards, full
believe it.
price.
Ridiculous.
Well,
Stealing
talking
our
of the
money.
price, because you're sitting here with a £300
Yes.
replica
I have
actual
my
size Leviathan axe.
Leviathan axe in hand while we're doing the podcast.
Yes, he does. We don't have prices on the collector's edition. It goes one higher, the Jotnar
Yes.
edition, which has something none of them do, which I'm sure you're very excited about, the dice set.
So let me go through fucking. Yeah, way to fucking take the fun out of it, you fucking nerd. let me read through these editions then, okay? So we've got the standard edition, the launch edition. It comes with something called a resin snow armor. It looks quite cool, very Kratos-like, but you know, this is all having fun with it, and it's all downloadable content, so it's all fun and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing is it's basically just a DLC. We've already established.
It's all
this.
DLC,
Yeah,
exactly,
get 'em.
exactly. We've got the digital deluxe version, which comes with that plus a golden version of it. It's called the Dark Dale armor, and it also comes with a PS4 theme, no PS5 theme because PS5 doesn't have themes. Everyone who wants themes back is going to be crying, George.
It's not going to work on a PS5 though.
Exactly.
It
It's got a
could if you got rid of the stupid fucking like big massive game card when you scroll over it.
Listen,
Give me the option. Let me
live in
get
the
rid of
future,
that.
okay?
Let me
We live in the
favour
future.
a theme.
Listen, old man, the future is now.
Exactly, old man, fucking boomer.
Damn it.
And then we've got the two big editions. We've got the collector's edition, which comes with 2 Vanir twin carvings, and they don't have a name on them. And I have to kind of guess by like zooming in. I don't know. I'm going to send you guys the link, so maybe you can have a look at it and think if I'm going crazy here. But it looks like one of those is Freya. Is the other one Faye?
I don't know.
If you scroll down in that link
have
I've
a
sent you, you go to the collector's edition and try and zoom in as much as you can. Those are Vanir twin carvings, those little things there.
1 second.
One of them, the dress looks like Freya, but the other one is just a woman that...
I feel like that actually, now that you say it, I can totally believe that. Yeah.
If that's true, that means that I'm going to get what I wanted, and I wanted to have a good chunk of the game where we discover Faye's past.
Yeah.
And we understand who she was, how she died, why she never told anything to Kratos, etc. stuff like that, which I'm fucking excited about, but that's not confirmed, so we don't know.
I mean, it makes sense because I don't know if you guys know. So if you go back and play like that beginning part where Boulder comes to the house, him and Kratos are having 2 different conversations. It's one of those like movie tropes, except this one works perfectly. He's saying things like, I know what you are. Boulder's accusing, I know what you are. I know you're trying to hide. You thought we wouldn't notice you. We thought we wouldn't find you. And Kratos is thinking, okay, he knows I'm a god from a different place.
Yeah.
And Baldur's saying, I know you're an ice giant.
Yeah.
You know, you're the last of your kind.
He says, I thought you'd be bigger because
I thought you'd be bigger
giant
because
is
you're a
in the
giant,
name,
right?
yeah.
But he's also the god of war, the guy that killed
right.
all of the... He killed Zeus, he killed Ares, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I know you're the last of your kind, the last ice giant, the last of the Greek pantheon. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many overlaps where they both are having this reason. They both reasonably think they're having the same conversation.
It's a very well structured conversation.
It's
isn't
really well done. And then you realize that he's obviously not talking to the person he thinks he is. All of that's directed towards Frey. Who the frick is this woman? Also, how did she die?
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
There's so much. I did that video that went on the FPN where I said like the top 5 things I want to see in God of Ragnarok. My first one, and in fact my second one as well, because it overlapped. I was like, I want to know about Faye's backstory because she's the reason why we go on this adventure in the first game, and all we know about her is that she's the mother of Atreus.
Yeah.
And she gets an axe from 2 master blacksmiths.
Yeah.
What else? What?
Also,
come on now.
one other thing. In the Jotnar edition, there's a vinyl.
Oh, hold on, before we get to that.
What's on the thing of Frey?
Well, I was on the collector's edition so far. Oh, go mention what you got to say. Mention what you got to say. I'm not going to...
No, just that on the cover, it has the gold hand.
Oh, so on the Jotnar edition, there's the handprint, the classic handprint.
And that's what was on the tree that Kratos, it's like
Exactly.
the last thing we see of her before they go on the thing.
There is a second one on that as well. There's like a green one sort of going to the opposite side. I guess it's supposed to be like a heart shape in total, but I think that might be something we see obviously in the game, and it might be Atreus' hand sort of completing it and like mother and son sort of thing. But
I don't know, but I just think that's another nod potentially towards
to seeing her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the collector's edition, the whole thing comes in a box, and the front of the box has got the
Love to come
Knowledge
in a
Keeper's
box.
Shrine. Sorry.
No, that was dirty, just a stupid joke.
Yo,
No.
the Knowledge Keeper's Shrine opens up at the front, which, as I said, that was the thing that was in God of War 2018.
Yeah.
There's one particular shrine where it talks about the Knowledge Keeper. What was her name again? I had it here. I will pull it up in just a second. Grower is the Knowledge Keeper. There's a whole backstory to her, which I'm actually planning to do a dedicated video on. So check out the channel for that, and it's like a bit of backstory in it. It'll hopefully make God of War Ragnarok a lot better for you. She has a fight with Odin essentially, and there's a whole thing there that's going to happen. And three other things. It does come with a dwarven dice set in that one there. They're
Awesome, the best bit, even better than Mjolnir.
honestly worthless. Probably going to throw them away when I get them. It comes with a 16-inch replica of Mjolnir's hammer. Mjolnir, Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
I've seen the unboxing video that Ryan Hurst does himself.
Yeah, is it covered in canvas? Is it actual canvas?
It looks, I'll say looks because
Yeah.
who knows when it comes. It looks very fucking detailed and very good.
It does. Even in these pictures, it looks good.
That's
so.
the thing. Pictures might be a bit deceptive, especially because like CG, a lot
Right.
of the work there, Photoshop and stuff like that. But in the video, it looked very good. It does come with a steelbook as well.
Yes,
a fantastic
it does.
steelbook of
And just the steelbook.
just the steelbook. There is no physical game in the collector's edition
Why?
or the Jotnar edition. It even says there no game disc included.
That's
So
a
weird.
huge
They've
L.
been doing that for a while, haven't they?
They did it for
it's-
Horizon Forbidden West. I don't
Why?
think they did it before that, but they did it
Like,
for Horizon
why?
Forbidden West as well.
No.
I will tell you the reason why, but it's not a good enough answer. So they're making the disc.
Yeah.
They're making the disc for the standard physical
Yeah, they're
edition.
printing millions of them. Yeah.
They're making both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 versions.
Yeah.
The reason why they're not doing it is because they want to keep one SKU. They don't want to make a whole bunch of PlayStation 5 versions and then that maybe some of those don't get sold, and then make a PlayStation 4 version and maybe some of those don't get sold, and then that's that.
I feel like this is as
Yeah.
simple as the order comes through and you click a box.
No, but then they have to make them in it, so there's going to be stock left on the shelf somewhere of one of the editions. That's the only reason why they're doing it. And I'm sorry, but that's not a good enough reason, because there are people out there who like digital. There are people out there who like physical. People who like digital aren't people; they're animals.
It's
but
true.
But whatever, that's their preference, right?
Stormfront was right.
Exactly. Oh God, don't say that. Don't say that. But whatever, that's their preference. In a collector's edition, those are 100% physical buyers only. There's no
completely. Yeah.
You don't have a digital option. There's no possible way. So why in God's name do they think? Do you know what? It's a good idea to put a digital game in this thing.
This is the thing as well. This is what I was getting at. You know, I was saying it's just tick a box. Then you know what the order is, right? There's not going to be a huge amount of people that order these and don't follow through, right? Surely it's as simple as just before the order goes through, oh, this one's for PS4 disc, put it in, box up the order.
I think that's just too much effort for them. That's what it is.
But they have to go through all of it to put it all in anyway. These orders all have to be packed, you know, and the only excess really is a stack of PS4 discs and a stack of PS5 discs. You just pick one or the other.
I think that I think if they have to do it that way, so I mean, I'm with you.
Pack them. Do you know what I mean? Like
I'm with you because the pre-orders go live on the 15th for anyone who wants to find out. We don't know the price of these yet or who's going to be selling them in whatever countries and whatnot. So wait until the 15th. But so if they took the pre-orders on the 15th, then they could pack them, and then it'll be enough time for them to have everything, right? Well, so again, it negates their point.
Hold on a minute. Why couldn't they just give you the PS4 disc, and if it goes into a PS5, it just gets the PS?
They could do that as well.
That's even dumber. For some reason, I assumed in my head they'd have to be different, but they don't have to be different.
They don't have to be different. I told you this is all just stupid. Because then, I mean, even the way they're doing it now, they're giving you the download code, so you're gonna have to do the download anyway. They could have given you the PS4 disc and then download the PS5 game. Anyway, is this stupid to you as well, James?
Yeah, it's weird. It's an odd one. I mean, I personally don't give a shit because I only own digital games because I don't need a bunch of like random shit.
Why are
just
you
lying around my house?
You know this is the True Gamer podcast, right?
Yeah. Why did we get him on here? Why did we get him on here?
We always do this.
Fucking. How many platinum trophies have you
got? 3.
3?
That's 3 more than me.
3. No, actually 4.
What are the games?
I just saw Horizon. So Horizon Forbidden West, both the Spider-Mans, Miles, and the original one, PS4. And Astro's Playroom.
Fucking Sony Pony.
The big 4.
Fucking Sony Pony.
There you go.
That's what he is.
You could say I'm a bit of a gamer, you know.
I'm somewhat of a gamer myself.
No.
Anyway, so that's that's the collector's edition, right? Yeah. That's what that comes with there.
Also comes with a skin.
Yes, it does come with skin as well.
It's called something Darkdale armor set and grips, stuff like that. That doesn't sound very Viking to me.
It doesn't.
That sounds like someone from the pub. Oh, it's Dale.
Dale.
Darkdale there. You know, he's always depressed.
Yeah, he's always depressed, that guy. And then we've got the Jotnar edition, which is the big edition, the biggest one you can get. Essentially all the same stuff with Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, the Vanir twins, carving. You get a dice set, which is a little bit different. This is Brock's dice set. It's white this time, which pisses me off because now does it mean I have to buy both of the collector's edition and the Jotnar edition to get both of them? Fucking hate my life.
Because you want the dice. It's the best bit.
I need to have a complete set. That's what I need. But also, it comes with a legendary Draupnir ring. Don't know what that does, but apparently it's significant in God of War Ragnarok. We'll find out about that. We've got a Falcon Bear Wolf pin set, a 7-inch vinyl of Bear McCree's soundtrack for the game.
Incredible score, yeah. Ben McCree's so talented.
And a cloth map of the Tree of Yggdrasil with all of the 9 realms on it, which looks fantastic.
Yeah, I think that one's going to fuck hard. That's going to be so sick.
I hope it's good material. I hope it's not going to be something shit, but it looks nice anyway.
I think that's probably going to want to get framed and go on one of these walls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's weird, man. I used to be so into this stuff. I used to be a big collector. Now I just can't see why you would want any of it, you know? I like the vinyl. I think that's cool.
That's actually the least interesting thing to me.
That's the one where I'm like, that's cool, you know?
You got
pop
burnt
that
by
in a record player, be having a good time. But I don't know why I would want a fucking cloth fucking map of Yggdrasil. That's,
it's
art. What I want that for.
Awesome. Come on.
Art.
I guess.
I love it. He got burnt by AC3 when he bought that collector's edition.
Right.
So ever since then, it's just been downhill.
Yeah.
True. The last collector's edition I ever bought was it was Unity actually in 2014. And never again did I get one.
Well, this is the thing. If you just picked a better franchise with better games,
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, you are 100% right.
You should have got the Fallout 76 collector's edition. That one was
What you-
largely agreed to be the best
What
ever.
you should have done was do what I did and bought the Cyberpunk collector's edition. That paid off.
Oh, yikes!
Yeah, along with the Secret Labs chair.
Of course, yeah. You have to buy the
God.
£500
Of course you
Secret
do.
Labs chair
Yeah,
as well. That
yeah.
was-
Oh, that's such a shame.
Mate, that was painful.
Oh god.
It still looks
Oh,
good,
God.
but it
The
just
Cyberpunk
reminds me
chair
of
looks
like
amazing. It looks so good.
Yeah.
And so does that Akira style display diorama, but like the game it came with, not so good.
Do you know what that chair is like? That chair is like having a sex tape of your ex who was a smoking like 1,000 out
Amber
of
Heard.
10. Basically,
Yeah.
but she is. But it turns out what she did, and the reason why your ex is now is because she literally stole all of your money,
Shit in your bed.
and while she was with you, she pegged you and released that video out on the internet.
Oh my
And it's
God.
like you've still got the video of her, and she's still hot, and she did everything you loved, but
Right.
now you
I
just
feel
can't.
like that
every
is
time you look at
It's
it.
a great analogy, but it's more for like the Combos podcast.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
Because I was like, oh yeah, she shit in your bed. She literally took a shit in your bed. Cool, that's pretty bad. And you took it like
A step
a
further.
running jump and pole vaulted over the line.
Anyway, those are the editions. It's coming out soon. You can pre-order it on the 15th if you guys want to do that.
I have one question
I
for
might
you,
have to
Ed,
get
'cause
one edition just for Isla because she needs the hammer first off, obviously.
Wames has just already told us he doesn't like good things. We've
Yeah.
just established that.
Yeah.
For you, what is the price at which you have to drop down from the Jotner and get the collector's edition? I know there is a number.
So
Where
you're
do you
saying
look at it? Like if it comes out, it's like Jotner edition, £600.
Why would it be? It wouldn't be that much more, would it? Because
You would think not, but like
the hammer's in both. You think that's the expensive bit, wouldn't you?
yeah, the
Yeah.
only thing that's extra is that
I mean, the
ring, the,
vinyl
cloth
could
map,
be-
and the vinyl.
the
and
vinyl
the
could
pins.
be pretty expensive.
Yeah, possibly.
I can imagine it being like an extra 50 quid. I can
Also, if you're
imagine,
going
right?
to get it, you don't have a whatever CD player for
Do-
vinyls is.
Do you know
called
what's funny? I don't know if this is
record
the thing.
player.
I can usually tell when my girlfriend is lying, where she's trying to pat my ego or something like that. But I couldn't tell in this instance. When I told her about it, she was like, "Do you know what? Maybe we should get a vinyl player." And I was like, "Are you doing it to like make me happy, or do you actually want a vinyl
Right.
player?" Like, I don't know, because if she's doing it to just mess with me, I'm like,
But some people like
am I going to
those,
say
though.
yes, and then she's going to be like, "Ah, dickhead, I don't care. Actually,
yeah.
you fucking idiot,
But some
loser."
Yeah,
people
but you
say
can
that's
play
how-
anything on a vinyl player. You know, you could play
Yeah, CDs,
not video game
tapes.
music.
Not video game music
know?
as well.
So
Mozart.
everyone
What? Who?
get benefits.
Sounds like a loser. Do you guys listen to music a lot?
I don't.
Wames? Do you guys have
Um,
music on other than when you're playing games? Obviously, all the best songs are in JRPGs. Let's get back to JRPG talk.
True. No, I don't. I don't know.
Talk me
I used
through
to be a big
Persona.
music
It's
guy.
500 hours, right? So talk me through it, right?
Let's
not,
do it.
Let's not talk about that.
Wait.
Let's not talk about that. Let's not. Let's really not.
Man, that could be the gateway, Eddie. Just got to play Persona 5.
Yeah, come on.
I'm sorry.
Royale
the gateway
edition.
by
You'll be
playing
hooked.
something that will take up every moment of my life.
Yes.
Yeah, because then you'll understand, and you'll be like, I'm glad that it takes up every moment of my life. Or I'm
No.
glad that I'm neglecting my family
I've never
because of
seen
this
either.
game.
Yeah,
You'll be happy for it.
it's true. It's true.
Fuck. Do you know what? Now you're selling me. Neglecting my
Right.
family. That's a good idea.
Perfect. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Good idea. Do you know what I did say to my girl? I was like, you know what? You waste a lot of my time.
You just decide to like let down all the veils, let her peek behind the curtain.
All
you
the
were
veils.
a huge time sink.
You waste a lot of my time. I could
Yeah.
be doing a lot of things if it wasn't for you.
And not just that I do things I'd rather not. Like everything you want, zero value
Yeah.
to anyone. To anyone.
Zero value. Anyway, those are the additions right there. I am fucking excited for this game. I cannot wait.
What do you think the Jotnar really? What do you think it costs?
I have a suspicion it'll be $250. That's what I think it'll be, and I think I would still pay that, even though that is expensive.
That is expensive.
This is the sequel to my favorite game of all time, the best game of all time, objectively.
True.
So there's not much I wouldn't pay. There probably would be a limit. I'd say if it went beyond 300, I'd be like, well, the fucking hell, man.
Right.
I'm buying another PS5 for this fucking thing. What are you fucking asking for? But yeah.
I'm genuinely concerned that you do buy both.
The problem is I was very close to buying a replica Mjolnir on Etsy to go with my Leviathan axe.
I need to see what this is like.
But I saw one that was actually good and had weight to it and had a bit of like stone in it and stuff like that, and it was like £800, and I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen.
That's a lot. What did the axe cost?
$350.
$350.
Yeah, the axe cost $350. Anyway, have you got any final thoughts on God of War Ragnarok? Anyone?
No, I think that's everything for me.
No thoughts. Head empty.
There we go. All right, so that's
empty.
That's the end of the Is God of War Delayed or Not podcast. Thank you very much. That was the final episode because now we have our answer. Tune in never again because it's never going to happen. All right.
Wow,
back
the
to
end of an era. I can't believe
end
I was
of an
here for
era.
this.
You was here, like we were there to end your podcast, Kill Con.
Yeah.
You're here to end this podcast. Yeah.
Amazing.
All right. Bro.
Yes.
This is the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
Coming to your eyes and ears every Saturday here at youtube.com/Conbrosations1.
We actually do own Conbrosations. YouTube.com/Conbrosations. They just
won't allow us to use it for some reason. Whatever's going on there. Over here on youtube.com/Conbrosations1 and on podcast services around the world, all you have to do is search for the True Gamer Podcast, and you get us into your eyes and your ears wherever you guys like to listen to us. If you're over on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for occasional notifications to the podcast. And every time we upload, you know how YouTube is. 5 days later, hey, these guys uploaded a video. Did you want to see it as and when it happened? Well,
no,
tough
of course
luck.
you don't.
Tough luck. And if you're on podcast services, hit that 5-star rating for us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps us out. It helps raise those ranks right there. We had a few new listeners, and it's all thanks to you guys who do that. Thank you so much. If you want to take your support that extra mile, if you want to go that one step further, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations, where you can kick us a couple of bucks a month and get exclusive access to the Conbrosations podcast for just $1. It's a great podcast where we talk about anything and everything with no filters. It gets terrible. We did talk about whale penises in the last episode.
Yes, we did.
It's you have to be there, unfortunately.
It was
go and check
whale of a time.
Because he said whale. And we were talking about whales.
That's right.
And you said whale because
it's a throwback.
Exactly.
And also a play on words.
Exactly.
Potentially a pun, but it's
whale.
Because of the whales.
Incredible.
Whale.
It's play on words.
As well as that, if you go to the $5 tier, our True Gamer tier, you get this podcast the day it's recorded before everybody else, and you also get your name read out as a True Gamer because that's what you are for supporting this podcast right here. Those just like these people right here. Adam the High Quality Potato, Jeremy Horde, Sheps is Crusty Right Nut, Isak Manny, The Bat Fan, Adam Sunling, Clark53, Mikey T, Catsper Coral, Sab2557, Joe McCormack, Super Whale Ben, The Boys, hashtag The Boys Season 3S.
Oh god, it's doing the thing again.
Patreon's cut off the names again. Gams Master. Oh, here we go. Hashtag Make the Nice Guys Please for the love of fuck Hollywood. Gerald Tucker, Fishy, The Jackal, Alpha Aquila, Max H, and Make Bindis Mod. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here on the True Gamer Podcast. Thank you so much, guys. I love you so much. Yeah, if you guys, however, don't want to kick us any bucks, that's totally fine. We completely understand. We love you regardless. Just being here, watching is all good. Hit the like button, comment down below, good stuff.
We do appreciate it.
Bro.
Yeah.
I want to kick off the next part of this podcast.
Well, before we get there.
Oh.
My favourite segment, never forgotten.
Ah, yes.
But this week, ignored, because James doesn't care. So get fucked, Runic Firebird. Remembered. And moved past.
Are we actually going to
fuck
it? Okay, all right. He calls the shots.
What is this? What is this?
We have a segment called Correcting Conbrosations.
Yeah, I'll do the bit. If you're new around here, we're not doing the bit, but I'll do the bit. If you're new around here, we say things on the internet, and we've never let pesky things like facts and information get in the way of a strongly held opinion. So when we say something, or you can't, right? It's ridiculous. No. When we say something wrong, head down to the comment section of this video, ideally with a timestamp, so at 13 minutes and 72 seconds when you said this, it was actually that. And then next week we'll read out your comment and credit you. But this week you get fricked.
See, every week you should just not do it, but tell them you will, because then you get the comments and it increases engagement, and you never have to read anything that anyone says, because their opinions don't matter. Anyone listening to you, like, there's a reason why you're the ones doing this and they're not doing it. It's because if they could, they would, and they can't. That's why they listen to you do it.
Right, we're the stars.
So
we're Homelander.
There's no use correcting us. Even
person.
if we're wrong, we're right at the end of the day.
Exactly. We're Homelander, you're Huey's girlfriend. Okay?
Do you know?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that means, but you're right.
God, have you really not watched The Boys?
I've not watched The Boys, but I want to. I've heard good things about the newest season. Everyone's been talking about it. So.
Nah, you wouldn't like it. Don't worry about it.
Too busy playing JRPGs like a fucking loser.
Well, I've been thinking about it for a while, but every single time I think about watching it, I realise that you guys love it, and I'm like, it must be bad. Like, it can't be good.
Right. I mean, that's fair enough, innit?
That's why he hated. Kenobi, because we said we liked it.
True.
That's what he said.
That's why, not because it was just horrendous, but
no, it was fucking fantastic.
You didn't enjoy season 1 of Reva?
Fantastic. Look, Reva was the best part of the show. That's
it's true.
My opinion, the best part of the show. Honestly,
just naturally cool. Didn't have to work for it at all.
No, just amazing.
And I'm glad that she got her own spin-off show that was greenlit before Kenobi was even done, but they were umming and ahhing about a Vader show, you know.
Yeah. Well,
clearly Reva's the reason why people want to tune into Disney Plus, right? That'll get sub numbers up.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep my subscription active as long as Reva gets at least 5 seasons.
At
least.
Well, I'm hoping 8 seasons. You know, go the way of Game of Thrones.
That would be good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And even that would be rushed, like Game of Thrones.
I agree. So, I think they should really take the time. 12 episodes a season, full hour. Not this hour for TV. Full hour of watchable content. Yeah.
60 minutes of actual video.
Yeah.
Okay, should we get started with this thing?
Let's do it.
I'm going to start this next section off with a question. Okay, guys. Do you keep your PlayStation? Do you keep your PlayStation 5 standing up or laying down flat?
This isn't a question.
This isn't a question. It's a trick question because there's only one answer.
Yeah, Williams. Hurry up and get this wrong so that we can.
Mine is standing up.
Yeah, standing. There's only one reason to turn it sideways, and that is because you literally don't have anywhere to put it.
Thank fucking God.
This isn't a real question.
I heard some people saying, no, it's meant to be on its side. Look, the disk drive is on its side. And I was like, hold on a second. Was you assuming that the disk drive was going to be like imagine it standing up and then the disk drive going horizontally into it like that? What the fuck are you thinking?
This isn't a PS3.
What kind of question is that?
The PS3 could go either way. It was 50-50. You really could do it either way.
The PS2 was the pinnacle.
Right.
Because you could switch around the logo. The logo on the PS2 could flip.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was almost like he was a transformer, even though it was just a fucking badge.
Right. PS2, PS3, perfect.
Yeah.
PS4 went horizontal. PS5 goes vertical. That's it. Those are the rules.
You can tell because of where the little button icons are, like for the on button and the eject button.
Solid point.
You can tell it's supposed to be standing up because if it's on its side, they're on their side.
Well, also, because like you say, those buttons aren't oriented properly if it's on its side.
Exactly.
Like the savages.
Have you? And another thing as well that made me think that these people are fucking morons. Have you ever laid a PS5 on its side?
Yeah.
And you know, because the way it's supposed to be, especially with that stand and whatnot, because you need the stand to lay on its side, otherwise
it won't work.
Otherwise, it's like tipping all the time, like a fucking boat or something like that. Do you know how you put the disc drive in? How you put the disc in?
Yeah, it's upside down.
So the disc drive is underneath. It's almost concealed, so you can't even fucking see it under there. And you have to put the disc drive just the wrong way around to put it in.
It's shiny side up.
And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. This is completely backwards. Yeah. And I'm like, this is not natural. Fucking stand your shit up, mate.
Well, here's my question. How do these guys park their motherfucking cars?
They do it like everyone's going parallel parking. So parallel parking, they just go out like that with their nose sticking out.
Or they just get in and just get a bottle jack out and flip it over so it's on its roof.
There you go.
Idiots.
James, how do you park your car, or does Elva do it?
Elva does the
Badly.
parallel parking for him.
Out of everyone in the Wames household, it's Elva that's the good driver, and James is the woman driver.
Yeah, apparently.
Do you still have problems in parking garages with the pillars and stuff like that?
Well, I like
Are
to say
pillars still your
no,
worst enemies?
but
You'd
you,
like
d-
to say-
In fairness,
you really don't know.
let me
You know,
rephrase
one
the
of these days
question.
I could pull the wing mirror off again. So
well, not if you don't leave the house, Wames.
good. That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Ah.
So in
So-
reality, I'm a great driver.
Right, you never crashed since.
Not never. Yeah, exactly. Also never
Oh,
driven
boy.
since, but you know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's-
I want everyone
Who's
who's
keeping
watching
count?
to drop down below how they keep their console. Remember, we will judge you. We will judge you in the next
Yeah.
episode.
Basically, we're asking you to just out yourself so we can take a leaf out of Stormfront's book. And
Exactly. So we can again another boys joke that James isn't gonna get.
perfect,
Yeah,
James.
I'm not sure
Just
what's
just
going
nod
on.
and agree. You agree, right? That
so right,
seems
man.
reasonable. Seems
Just
reasonable. I
say
thought so.
just say you agree with everything Stormfront says. Just say
Yeah.
that. Say that.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. All of her values, all of her.
Yeah.
her
I'm glad
everything.
James and I are on the same side with
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Both
Yeah.
of you.
Both have good takes.
Yeah.
Not all
Stormfront's
of
a
his ideas
Nazi,
were
by the
bad,
way.
okay? I'm a big fan of motorways.
Okay, all right. Glad we've got that out of the way and we've shamed the necessary people. Let's
Yeah.
move on to the next main topic, okay?
Yeah.
Sony's Horizon TV show coming to Netflix is set to begin filming in August this year in Toronto, and because of Canada's rules with movie making and stuff like that, they have to list the crew that's working on the show, and the Directors Guild of Canada may have accidentally revealed the title of the show.
Oh, yeah?
The title there is labeled Horizon 2074, revealing that this show, rather than it being a reimagining of the game Horizon Zero Dawn or a retelling of the story,
Yeah.
might be a prequel of sorts taking place about 1,000 years before the events of Zero Dawn, with Elizabeth Sobeck and Ted Farrow and the collapse of civilization.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, Wames, how do you feel about this taking place in the second best genocide of mankind by robots?
Order 66 being number one, obviously.
That's not genocide. That's not robot genocide.
Oh,
Also,
sorry,
the
robot.
Terminator
My
genocide is the
apologies,
number
my
one
apologies.
genocide of humanity.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. If we're ranking genocides. of
Right,
course.
Robo Holocaust. Yeah, as it came up naturally, what's your top 5?
What's your top?
Oh
James?
god, that's a difficult one, man. I have so many.
Yeah, there are some really good ones. I think here we will agree Order 66 is number 1.
Order 66, definitely
Yeah.
the worst, definitely the worst.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about
Horizon.
Elizabeth Sobeck and Ted Farrow?
Horizon. Well, I'm a big.
Farrow fan, we know.
For me, yeah, exactly. For me, I always think less is more a lot of the time, and I
yeah,
think
don't make the
for-
show. I agree.
For Horizon, the what is so good about the old world is that you don't know about it, and I think having
Yeah.
a piece of media set exactly during that period takes away so much of what makes it an interesting period. Because once you know about it, it just becomes like a piece of history. It's just normal. You know about it. And so I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't really need it. I mean, I don't need video game adaptations anyway. Like, I don't.
Agreed.
They never do anything for me. The only one I enjoy is Sonic, and even that like has its problems.
Because it's Sonic.
Right.
Fucking.
Right.
Sonic.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's part of the brand at this
Or
point.
is it because of the animal cruelty with dyeing that hedgehog blue?
Of course, of course.
yeah,
Dying
that's a good
hedgehog
point.
pollution.
Yeah, it's crazy they did that.
We said as well that like while we love these franchises and we want more of like say God of War,
Yeah.
Horizon, whatever it might be.
kids
Movies
picking
and
our
TV
dinner,
shows they just don't work. They just don't work. Movies definitely don't work because there's just not enough time to tell
Right.
the massive amounts of story that go into a video game. But TV shows, they're always directed by somebody who wants to put their own funk on it, their own vibe on it. But then, why are you doing this in the first place? If you're not, why don't you go do something brand new? If you're gonna
Yeah.
do something, if you want to put your own thing on it. I'll say one thing about this that got me kind of interested. This will probably be the first TV show that goes from one season to another season where it changes drastically. Mostly when you do like one season of a show, It's pretty much the same thing, but with a new adventure or a new hook for the next season.
Higher budget.
But
that kind of thing.
but it's always the same thing. Like think of The Witcher season 1, Witcher season 2. Not much changes, just a different adventure going on right there. And loads of other TV shows do the same thing. With this, it's literally going to be sci-fi, the peak of human civilization, and then a massive collapse. And then season 2 will be, I guess, 1,000 years later, Aloy,
do you think they're going to go that way?
cavemen, tribes with robot dinosaurs everywhere.
Do you think they'll do that?
I would
Maybe.
imagine they're just not going to do
Yeah.
that. I would imagine they'll
think
just
so?
do this one story and then it'll end.
Will be
we see
shit.
the Robo Holocaust, that will be the end of the show.
If
I
they
imagine
do
that's
that,
the show, yeah.
that's awful. Could you imagine pitching that? How can someone greenlight that? How can someone say yes, we'll do that?
Right. Also,
Because that
think
sounds
about your
awful.
casting. Whoever you pick for Elizabeth, if you're going to do what you do, your idea,
They get
that
to play
person
Aloy.
now needs to be able to also play Aloy.
Well, I think they can do that. I mean, that's what actors are meant to be.
They'd have to age him up a bit in the first season or whatever, because they have to pick a young person, and then they'd have to, for like a whole season or whatever, age him
Good
up
point.
so they
Yeah.
look like 40 plus or whatever. I don't know
Good
how old
point.
Elizabeth is. She has wrinkles. That makes you old, right? I don't know.
Whoa,
I don't have a good
whoa,
concept
hold
of
on a
age.
You don't get wrinkles until you're... How old am I? 32. Let's add like 25 years onto...
57.
57 years old.
That's where you
Right.
get first wrinkle.
That's when you start to
Yeah.
wrinkle. Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
Makes
It's true.
sense.
I know what you're saying, right? And I've tried to say it earlier, but just picked a bad time because podcasting is hard. We're children picking our dinner, right? If you leave kids to pick their own dinner, they're going to pick ice cream and chocolate fudge cake every single day,
Yeah.
and then their teeth are going to fall out. It's bad for them. They get diabetes. I want a Last of Us TV show. I want a God of War movie. Should they do it? Absolutely not. Because just because I want it doesn't mean it would be any good. What I don't want is for it to be bad, and it will be. They shouldn't do it. It doesn't change that I want it. I want them to make a Last of Us 3. They should never make it. I didn't think they should make 2. And the fact they managed to make 2 and it was as good as it was is a miracle. They should stop.
It's like
I
what we
want
said.
a third game, but I don't want them to make a third game. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's like what we
wouldn't
said
be
about
good.
God of War. Like, I want more God of War. But how can they top God of War 2018?
Yeah.
Are we just wanting something because we want it and it's going to be bad? It's
Right.
going to ruin everything? Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Oh!
The thing is as well, they picked weird ones. The Horizon, obviously terrible. Female lead, just get rid of it.
Yeah, it's just...
You know?
When have women sold anything, to be honest?
Women don't sell. We know this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Troops.
Well, Ubisoft have the right idea.
They do.
They know. They get it. They get
Clip
it.
that, clip that.
I know.
Like, The Last of Us makes sense for a TV show. We know that these things can work, right? There's how many seasons of The Walking Dead. So that one can be done, but even that, the real problem isn't that it's the zombie show. It's not a zombie show. It's a Joel and Ellie show.
Yeah.
And that you're really running a risk, right? It's just it's not. Why would you do this? And then they pick weird things like they're going to do Horizon, great, incredible aesthetic, a world to work with, umpteen million different stories they could tell, and then they're going to go and tell Elizabeth's story.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
They've really restricted themselves by going back. Granted, it hasn't been told properly, only in like holograms and stuff like
That's
that.
kind of like what James is saying. The fact that we don't know
It's
exactly
why it's
how.
good, yeah.
Right. If we
Yeah.
do know all the details, then it's sort of no fun.
Yeah, it's
Because-
a really odd thing to try and do because the fun of Horizon is piecing it together as you
Right.
go. It's like, I think this happened, but I'm not sure, and then you
Yeah.
get new information, and it,
And the
recontextualizes it.
exploration.
It's,
Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason that these maps use fog on the map, so you never really know what's out there till you get there, right? And the great thing about this, and The Last of Us as well, is no one really knows how we got here.
Yeah,
Right?
The Last of Us is good.
Yeah, like you just know that you are here, and this is the world that you're in, how everything works now.
Yeah.
But like, how did we get here? And it also doesn't matter. It doesn't exactly matter what happened
No.
with Elizabeth and Ted Farrar. It only matters that you are here, and what do you need to know to move forward, right? It's just a weird one, man. And I also, how are they going to sell toys? Robo dinosaurs are a perfect merch thing, you know.
Yeah,
And there are
True.
none. Unless it's going to be like some weird Jurassic Park thing where Elizabeth's secretly working on robo dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could... Because the thing is, that's the lore of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Like, if you was to see the box art, or if you was to see gameplay, you're not getting drawn in by the, it was an old world and Elizabeth Sobek was the head of it, and she was this genius that was really, like, smart, and then there was this Ted Farrell. No, that's not what you're seeing. Yeah. You're seeing this giant robot T-Rex. You're seeing this giant robot dinosaurs fighting and you're shooting them down. Right. And then you're like, cool, let's do this amazing TV show that's not that.
Right.
It's
right, exactly.
It's how are you going to draw people? Because that's only going to be interesting to people that have played Horizon, and not just people that have played Horizon, but love Horizon.
Right.
Because even if you just played it, exactly. But even if you just played it, but like didn't vibe with it, you're not going to be interested in this show, because it really is only for people that love Horizon. And even then, the people that love Horizon are probably going to all agree that you don't need to tell the story anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know who this is for. Yeah.
It is odd, because there's plenty of people that will have played Horizon and gone, yeah, that was good. They don't love it. They're not desperate for more of it. And the more that they wanted came in Horizon 2 Dawn.
Horizon 2 Dawn, exactly. That's
Horizon 2 Dawn.
Name.
It would actually be 1 Dawn, wouldn't it? Frick.
Yeah, because it's 0-1 Dawn. There you
Shit.
Go. The only people that like that first game anyway are Sony ponies. James, did you ever say anything positive for Sony? Then you're a Sony pony. Okay,
it's
that's
true.
The rules of this show. This
also,
that's how it works.
Also, a beta male simp cuck. Is there any other? What are the other?
What are the other words they use?
Because he's just simping over his own girlfriend in a video game.
Exactly. You know what? I'm surprised Elva hasn't done a fucking an Aloy cosplay.
Yeah,
she's considered it. She might do it at some point.
She should, and she should go all in. She should get like real animal hides, not washed for 1,000 years.
Yes.
You know?
Just go live in the woods, live in a cave for a week or something. Yeah.
Right.
And
then why is no one asking the real questions? How does Aloy keep her legs so perfectly smooth?
Right.
What's her skincare routine like?
Maybe she's just
where does she find razors?
Like
she's just
very lucky. Like
to
it's just
fair,
her genes. Yeah, maybe.
I was gonna say she is genetically engineered technically. So while she's a clone, maybe Gaia was just like, let's just take out these annoying bits. Yeah, she also doesn't have a period. She also doesn't get
To be fair, I don't think anyone in the Horizon world has like body hair. You know, maybe that's a lore point.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe I haven't noticed. I don't know.
They're more.
We need to find
evolved.
the data point for that.
Yeah.
Also, question: Does Beta have hair? Like leg hair and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how different are they? Is this like it's nature versus nurture?
See,
is it?
They didn't answer these proper questions in the game.
The most important grating questions.
The big one. Is it incest or masturbation?
I couldn't hold that one. I'm sorry.
I'm certain there is rule 34 of that, and I will be verifying for the next Conbrosations podcast.
There we go. I think we asked that question in the spoiler cast we did, where I was like, is it incest or masturbation?
It's a fair point.
Let's answer it right now.
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, we're all in agreement. This is a car crash waiting to happen.
Yeah, they should have just stuck. Do the Uncharted movies. Everybody loved those. Universally agreed.
Do you know what's extra dumb about this? They're putting it on Netflix, right? Netflix is, I think, the bigger platform. Right? Yeah. More people are going to watch it. They put The Last of Us on HBO. HBO's big, but I would have argued at least that would have been more better to an unknown audience. Like they're just going to see zombies and they're going to see two people bonding and stuff like that. This one is.
I've seen the last. I've seen. Walking Dead. I don't need to see this.
Exactly. And at least they would be like, oh, I don't need to have played the games. This one, like you said, like we both all said, you need to have played the games to understand what the hell's going on. It's just so dumb. It's dumb.
Weird.
Anyway, enough of that nonsense. PlayStation, you fucked up again. Xbox for life, Phil Spencer. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Well done, Phil, for not being PlayStation.
Exactly, for not being.
This is why I only have an Xbox. My PlayStation is. I've thrown it away.
Can I ask you a question? How do you keep your Xbox? Standing up or on its side?
Standing up.
Because there is an option to put it on its side, but that looks
even
more unnatural than the PlayStation on its side. Because while it's just a cube, and you would think it wouldn't be bad, it has that base to it, the odd base, and it just looks like it's been fallen over. It's like, oh shit, somebody knocked over my Xbox.
Because the vent is on the top too. So.
Yeah.
My question is it awkward the way you have it like strapped into your wheelie bin to like unplug it every time you need to take it out. And also, when the bin fills up with rubbish bags, does it overheat?
Right, exactly.
A good question.
Good question.
These are the hard-hitting questions. This is why we're real games journalists.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to our next topic. Rockstar have apparently shelved the GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1 remakes that were apparently in the works, allegedly, so they can focus on GTA 6. I say allegedly because I don't think they want to move on from GTA 5 ever.
No, they don't.
So I think that's a good way to try and get out of the hate they're going to get.
Remake 4?
No, so they made GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas.
That's right, yeah.
And they were poorly done and therefore got a poor reception.
Yeah.
And they're using that as like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do this then.
Yeah, also
Maybe we should have put effort in the first place.
Yeah,
Also,
you can do it. Just do it well, you know.
Yeah.
Do it well.
People will buy these remakes.
Right.
Sony's proved that. I also love that they were like, well, we didn't make it. Why are you having it go us? They're your games.
They're your games, fam.
You said yes to it. You let that go out.
Yeah.
Oh. How angry are you at this news, James? Do you have much affinity for GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1?
Well, GTA 4 is my favorite GTA. It's the first one I ever played, so I love that game. I don't like. I feel the thing with Rockstar games, and like, obviously I love Red Dead Redemption 1, is they age so well that I'm not like craving a remaster of them. I think the only thing that I would like really love is like a remake in the same way you look at like Demon Souls, where like it's a big step up. Whereas like a remaster, they're so good already that like honestly they hold up for me. Like I don't even need them to be just remastered. But a remake, I'd be all for that. Like if Red Dead Redemption 1 was remade to look like Red Dead Redemption 2, then yeah, I'd say that's worth it. But if it's just like a remaster, like a basic remaster, then it's like, I don't know if I need that.
That's the thing. The remasters that we got with the GTA trilogy, I wouldn't have wanted them to change the way it looked.
Yes,
because it was part of the nostalgia and part of your memory. That was like Tommy Vercetti looking the way he did, and the world being
5 pixels.
Yeah, semi-empty, but it's kind of lit up like Malibu. So it was a very distinctive thing. And if they changed it and made it more modern, it might have looked good in modern times, but it wouldn't have been the game that I remember playing. Yeah. So that's the thing. But these ones, like Red Dead Redemption 1, like you said, hold up much better than those games did.
Yeah, they do.
So I mean, there's no point in just giving it like a resolution boost and then an FPS boost. That's just not even worth it. You might as well.
Which you get on Xbox, by the way, for free if you play on Xbox. Download your Red Dead Redemption, GTA 4.
Well
4K,
done, Phil. Phil
gorgeous.
cares about us, I think.
Phil,
and he proves it every day.
Subscribing again for.
Well,
for
he says gaming
Game
fairly frequently. So.
He does, and it's for gamers by gamers.
For gamers for gaming.
Gaming. On this similar note, I feel like this is a good transition because I don't think there's much more to add to this. Like we kind of agree. If a game's any good, keep it, unless you're gonna really improve it.
The only thing is that I just want to call bullshit on their GTA 6 they're working on.
They're never making that game.
They said they're in active development, but I'm like, you're going to delay that for as long as possible
5.
just so you can get more people in on GTA
It's going to be the GTA 5 remake. That's all they're going to do, if they do anything. James, question for you, because the last time we spoke about like Xbox and stuff, we'd asked you how you felt about like Game Pass and the big library, because you've always said that like having that big library of games is a massive, it has a lot of appeal to you. Have you looked into the PlayStation? What's that top edition?
PlayStation Plus Premium.
Premium. Is it Premium?
Premium's the top tier.
Premium,
and then extra in the middle.
That's it. Yeah, the PlayStation Plus Premium with like all the back catalogue of PS1, 2, 3, and 4 games. Have you looked into that? How do you feel about that in comparison? If you've looked into it in comparison to Xbox, what's your take on it? Like the number of games, their quality, that sort of thing.
I've not looked into it so much, but I think like in comparison, I mean, for me, Xbox, the way that they do support for old games is great, and I don't know how PlayStation measures up. Like, do they give it a frame rate boost, a resolution boost, or is it just the game as it was? Because I don't even know.
I can tell you if you like.
But yeah, do.
Nothing. All they've done basically is that it's just the game again. There is some minor like stabilization, and it's like I think it is technically running at a slightly higher resolution, but it's not like on Xbox. It's like you get games that are 4K rather than like 720 it was. I think it's more like it's 1080p.
There is one other thing that they do, is they'll take games and if it got remastered, say it was on PS3 and it got remastered to PS4, they'll consider it a PS3 game and not let you play it.
Did you hear about that controversy, James?
What?
Wait,
so explain.
So the way it goes is that if you have the extra tier, you can get PS4 games and PS5 games, whatever's on the service, and you can play them for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
It requires you to get the PlayStation Premium tier, the higher tier, if you want to play any classic games. Now, that's all good if there's like a PS3 game you want to play or something like a PS2 game, etc., etc. But there are some games on PSN that were PS3 games that got remastered and then put into a PS4 packaging, but PlayStation are still regarding those as PS3 games and requiring for you to pay the extra tier in order to access them.
Oh, that's weird.
Even though it's
so
a remaster,
fucking dumb.
So like it's not like a boost or anything. It's remastered. It's a new
made
game.
again.
It's a new game, basically.
It's been made again, remastered and repackaged. If you were to buy it from the shop, it would say PS4 on the packaging. You buy a PS4 disc, it would go in your PS4. It wouldn't work in a PS3.
Correct, yeah.
But for some reason, PlayStation are like, no, that's a PS3 game right there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Last of Us remake or remaster, that's allowed. That's PS4.
That's totally different.
That's PS4 game. Fucking
that's
idiots.
Weird. That's really weird, yeah.
Yeah, try and defend that, ponies.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Anyway, the service is actually quite good. I was playing Killzone Shadowfall the other day for no reason other than I wanted to be in Killzone again. Not a very good game. It's not a very good game. It's just I wanted to be in Killzone again. But there's a lot of games on there. I have to say, despite its pain points, which there are a few of, it's actually really good value for money and better than Game Pass in every way.
Isn't it super expensive?
I
like
wouldn't
the
say it's super
premium?
expensive. The one difference is that to use the service, you do actually have to pay for it, unlike Game Pass.
So it's expensive in that sense. PlayStation Plus Premium is $129 for the whole year.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
I mean,
is it like $10 a month?
Yeah, it's about 10 a month, and also you presumably will get a Black Friday sale or some promo code somewhere for it. Probably bring it down 10 or 20. Would be my guess.
Let me get the actual
Maybe
price.
It's not so much.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit more than Netflix, really, if you think about it. Like Netflix is $8.99, right? And this would work out to like $10.99 a month, something like that.
I have.
And how much is Game Pass? Because Game Pass, I have Game Pass Ultimate, which I think is £10 a month or something.
Yeah, it is somewhere in that range.
So let me tell you exactly for the premium tier, the highest tier that gets you everything that they have to offer, which I just seen here. It says Ubisoft Plus Classics on here. James
amazing. We can double the price and it's still a steal.
12 months, it's £99. So like $8.99 a month, something like that. It works
and we get to support Ubisoft, who presumably got a very preferential rate with that. Amazing.
I was going to say your money's actually going to Ubisoft when you buy PlayStation Plus Premium. That's not a good thing to say.
Shall I just write you?
They give it all to Ubisoft.
Personally,
Sony just all of it.
They do. And how much?
I feel like the Japanese businessmen looked at Ubisoft and went, "Man, we can learn a lot of lessons on how to harass our women like this." You know, we should maybe get them to come over and consult.
Okay, and so $8.99 a month it works out to for PlayStation. There isn't a yearly option for Game Pass Ultimate, so you have to go buy the monthly version, which is $10.99. So it is more expensive. The difference between them is that you do get the day one first party games from Xbox.
Yeah.
However, Xbox aren't releasing day one first party games, so
if they
don't have any first party games to release.
If they made a game, you would get it day of release. Equally, Sony isn't doing that. However, they are making games, so it's like.
Hey, look, you're not excited for Forza Motorsport?
Well, the character development is my big thing about. Get fricked, Alpha. There's no
Brum games, eh? They are great.
They truly are.
The thing with Game Pass, so I actually think you're kind of in a minority here, James, because I know you pay for it and you have a lot of stuff on your your gamer tag and stuff. But I think a lot of people, a surprising number of people, just get their Doritos codes and make a new email address and get it for 3 months, basically, or for $1 for 3 months or whatever it is, and then just find a new burner. And I think it's only guys like you that actually do care and are too lazy and don't go out. And if Alpha doesn't bring home Doritos, you don't get your code.
Well, you know, it's easier. It's way easier to just pay it than to try and find a workaround. But that's what it's like when you have money. You just can sort of, burn it.
If you're like 15 and you're spending your pocket money on your
But that's
games,
counterintuitive to what Game Pass is. Isn't Game Pass supposed to be a low-cost alternative to getting into gaming?
Well, I think it is, more than paying for these big games all the time. And I think it depends where you're at. Like, and I know both of you love playing new games. That's like, the thing that you love the most.
Yeah.
So, but if that doesn't matter to you and you're just like, I just want to play games in general, Game Pass is great for that because there's so many great games on there. And if you're into just playing games in general, there's so many. There's some great indie stuff in there. I love that support. I think Xbox as a service is one of the best that's in gaming at this point in time. I think just the service they provide in terms of general gaming, I think is really strong. Whereas PlayStation is like this premium. The difference is almost like Xbox is almost like your Netflix. PlayStation is like going to the cinema. I feel like that's almost the difference.
Good
there.
analogy.
It's like
it.
Xbox is accessible. There's a lot of variety there, whereas PlayStation is like you get that cinema experience. You're going to see this, Top Gun Maverick in fucking IMAX sort of thing.
Boy.
And that's what PlayStation is.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like it.
That's pretty good. Just final thoughts on Game Pass. If it's so good, name every game.
We did say as well when this PlayStation Plus Premium came out, me and Sheps had a whole podcast discussion about it, and in the end it was like, the problem is though it's not for us. I don't want it. I don't. We buy all of our games, so we don't care. It's not for us.
Yeah, we do prefer either new games or, I hate to say it, like live service games. Like if I'm not playing like a God of War type thing, and ideally something coming out new, or replaying Ghost of Tsushima for the 15th time, I'm playing something like Apex.
Yeah.
Which. So it's new or constantly changing, or constantly being updated, whatever. Like, I just don't have much of a desire to go back and play something from like 2015 or before. Like, I want new.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Game Pass is terrible. You heard it here first, guys. On our next topic, did you guys see the way that EA got roasted on Twitter the other day?
No.
Oh, yeah.
EA made this post thinking that they were going to be all hip and cool and use a TikTok trend where, I don't know if you've seen this thing.
Does anyone actually say hip and cool?
Hip and cool, that's right.
Right.
You know where this TikTok...
We do.
Never going to get this out, guys.
No one cares what you have to say.
Have you seen this TikTok trend where a girl says to their boyfriend, they go like, she's a 10, but...
Yeah.
she plays video games, and then it's supposed to be like, oh, she's an 11 or something like that, and then vice versa, stuff like that. Anyway, Electronic Arts tried to do the same thing. It said, they're a 10, but they only like to play single-player games.
Are they still on this? Was it them or was it Xbox? Or like, tell me you limit yourself to...
So that's a slightly different one. That's the indie
Xbox,
games one. Xbox said the indie games one.
Right.
And what's really funny is that that was in the same vein as this. It's like, I would say in the same level of like making fun of your player base. But Xbox got a lot of people defended them for saying it, whereas everyone roasted Electronic Arts. This is the funny thing. So they said that. And they're the guys that are constantly banging on about how like single player games are dead. It's all about multiplayer games, live service games. When everyone else is just saying no, single player games is where it's at.
Right. Warzone just lost like 50 million users recently. It's down a lot.
I was gonna say Halo Infinite for the first time went free to play.
Right.
And look where it's at. It's like, stick to what's best. This was pretty fucking funny.
I just feel like the problem is these suits aren't willing. They want a social media presence, but they're not willing to let anyone who gets social media manage. Which means making things that the suits aren't going to like, because that's the things people enjoy, right? And that people will vibe with, right? They're not going to let the like 17-year-old get on TikTok and be like, making memes about like ducking into corporate meetings or something, right? While you're in tracksuits, everybody else is in suits, something like that. They're gonna want it to be like perfectly worded PR statements.
Yeah.
And then it isn't the point of social media. It's not gonna go well.
they want everything to be safe, but that's the social media things that go viral anyway are like in the spur of the moment, just sort of like off of the cuff, and sometimes really bad as well. But anyway, this went viral for all the wrong reasons.
It's perfect, and I'm glad that more people get to see EA for what they are.
What's really bad about this is that Vince Zampella,
that rings a bell.
He's the co-founder for Respawn Entertainment. He was the one that made. He was head on the Jedi Fallen Order game, and he's also head on the second sequel that's coming out. And he just simply posted a reply with a facepalm emoji, just like facepalm emoji. Going, what the fuck?
If you think about that as well,
terrible. Fucking hell.
Respawn have one of the best, online multiplayer games of all time, Apex Legends. Yeah. And also made the highly successful Jedi Fallen Order and are being commissioned to make the next one. They're one of their premium studios with a premium team. Some of the best in the world that do this. They have one of the top 3 live service games. Just like, I think it's Warzone, Fortnite, Apex. Yeah. And that guy is like, this was an L. You should delete this.
I'd love to imagine this sort of like in an office scenario where like you've just been asked by your boss to do something, and then your boss goes round the corner and starts shit talking you, and it's like, hold on a second, we was acting so cool just now, what the fuck?
Right. It's I mean, Wames, I know you don't really play games. You limit yourself to story-driven RPGs. It's just so.
That's what I'm known for.
It actually is what you're known for, isn't it?
It is.
Genuine question, because I asked this to Gerg, but he was probably too high to have been paying attention, give me an answer. You know your Final Fantasy 16 or whatever the frick it is, on 14, the online one.
14, yeah.
Realistically, if me and Edward start today, how long before we were like caught up and could play with you guys?
I'm not even caught up. So, shit. I've just finished the first expansion, and there are 3 more. It's a long game. Long game. I've currently put in 200 hours. I started a year ago.
Right.
I only play once a week, though, to be fair.
Right.
But still.
But you're putting a 12-hour shift on that,
So it's, I do play for a long session once a week, but it's, it's a game that came out in 2013. So it's nearly 10 years old, so it's 10 years worth of MMO content, so it's there's a lot.
I used to play World of Warcraft, so I'm 200 hours is like amateur time to what I had on my OG
you guys
stuff.
Are both fucking virgins.
Well, most people we play with, they've put in thousands of hours, so I'm
I was going to say, on my World of Warcraft account, my virginity was well guarded. My main character, I'm sure you're aware of this, people have like multiple characters. My main had but when I left and I'd been taking it part-time for like on and off for ages, and this was years ago, had like 175 days of game time on him, and I had like secondary characters and stuff, and most of those had somewhere in the range of like 30 days of gameplay on them. Multiple hell.
That's wild.
Yeah, you was not anywhere near pussy back then, were you?
Not even close. No. It was my kryptonite. I wanted it nowhere near me.
It's like James now.
Right. Exactly.
Like
Elva's actually a bodyguard.
Exactly. That's how we roll.
Can I say, by the way, Elva, she created a Discord server. People who are successful and stuff like that, they have Discord servers.
That's true. I was actually worried you wouldn't be able to join us on this call, James. I didn't know if you had Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I downloaded it again just for you. I've purged my life of it.
Thank you. Elva made a Discord server, and she made she called it the funniest fucking thing in the world. And it's a joke that I can't make because I'm not a girl. And I hate her and love her for it. She called it the kitchen.
Yeah.
And my God, if that's not the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. And I didn't know Elva had that kind of comedic genius inside her.
Yeah.
I need to hang out with her more. I think that's
it's doubly funny because her stream setup is in
the kitchen. Yeah. That's
so she streams from the kitchen like a woman should.
To be honest, we have both said this. Like, why you let her have free reign around the house? Yeah, and she's not at least chained,
right?
She should be able to. Okay,
who says she's not?
That's a good point. We don't often hear her walking on stream. We can't hear the clink, clink, clink.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. Good.
Our next topic. So, good news, everybody. Ubisoft is decommissioning a bunch of online services for a bunch of games.
Yes. Let's go.
Good stuff right here. Good stuff. Except it gets worse, James. A bunch of... I'm going to mention some of these games on here. Some of them, James will know well. Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Liberation, Revelations. You got Driver, San Francisco, Far Cry 3, Ghost Recon, and a couple of other ones on here. Splinter Cell, Blacklisted, that. Now... the online part of games, especially older games like that, probably not a lot of people care.
Very niche.
It's too small, and they probably weren't even that good back in the day anyway. So that's cool. But what's really great is that they've got a little chart here breaking it down on what's going to be turning off on these days. And for a bunch of these games, it says, additionally, the installation and access to DLC will not be available.
What?
So
weird. Yeah.
They're also going to be restricting your ability to play DLC you've purchased, you've paid money for, of a game. What the fuck is up with that? Like, I understand if it was like, okay, like online part. Can't play that anymore, obviously, because online services are much. But if you buy the DLC for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or whatever it is, you can't play that shit anymore.
Yeah, it's an odd one. I do, to an extent, like, I think... it doesn't matter a huge deal because, like, I mean, if you really cared about a DLC from, 12 years ago, you'd probably have it installed. And if you don't, then, like, you can just get the Ezio collection and it comes with all the DLC. Like, that's the version of the game that you're going to be playing these days. And there's not a lot of versions that don't just come with the, like, these DLCs on the disc. So the people that bought the DLCs way back in the day, like me, they're few and far between these days. Like, there's not many people, I think, that downloaded from Xbox Live Marketplace or PlayStation Network the Da Vinci Disappearance for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and that's the only way they can access it. Because if that's the only way you can access it now, like, you maybe need to buy a new console and stop playing your PS3. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be, but it still is a bit of an odd choice because you could just leave it,
Yeah, and who
wants
to play these games anyway? I don't think
that's a
anyone
great
will play
point.
It's true.
That's a fantastic point, actually.
They're only Ubisoft games, so I'm trying to cut you up here. So.
It does say access to DLC as well. So it says installation and access. I don't know what that means, like going to the store you can't do it, or if it means it doesn't authenticate when it's on your computer. When it's on your... It's a bit dumb in my opinion.
That doesn't make any sense to me. If people were willing to... Look, I feel like...
why the DLC is touched ever is my point.
This is the thing.
It's not part of the online service.
I'm making up the scenario... Yeah, like in my head, you're like, okay, so there's like a 16 or 17, 18-year-old, someone like fairly young, like coming new into it, and they've just discovered AC, and they haven't realised how toxic Ubisoft are.
Exactly.
They haven't got to Valhalla yet.
Yeah.
They've picked up something somewhere in the middle. I know how people's first version of the game tends to be their favourite for some reason.
Yeah.
So they've picked up, what's the one everybody hates?
Valhalla?
No, before that. The one in
Origins?
Greece or whatever.
Oh,
Odyssey.
Yeah. Right, they pick up Odyssey, it's fixed now, I don't know. They vibe with it. Like, you know what? I'll play some of the older stuff. Like, they're not going to know I need to play the Ezio collection and get all this stuff. They're just going to go, okay, look, AC1. Where did it start? I'll pick that up. They get the game. Oh, it's got DLC. I might as well get the lot.
It doesn't have DLC.
Whatever, man. They go to the older games.
Just trying to undercut your point here.
My point is, they go to the older games and that have DLC, and they go, well, I might as well get a lot of it. And then now they can't? Like, why would you... Why would you touch that? Why does that make any sense?
Yeah, I suppose so. I think in Ubisoft's mind, I guess what they're thinking is, look, we just want people to buy the new versions, the re-released PS4, PS5 versions of these games. Like, we don't want... Like, who's buying a PS3 game, like, the disc, the base disc, not even the Game of the Year edition, the original version, where you would have to buy the DLC off the marketplace. Like, they've re-released Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood Revelations enough times that I think it would be difficult to find one of those original versions that doesn't just come with the DLC as part of the game. So it's one of those things where I'm like, it's an odd choice because you could just leave it. Like, I don't know why you need to remove it. Like, just leave it.
Yeah.
It can't. Does it cost that much money for them that they can't host this DLC on a server or whatever it is anymore? I don't know. Like, it's an odd choice, but also I don't think it's actually going to affect that many people.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to play shitty games anyway.
No
Well,
one's
yeah,
playing
no one's
Assassin's
playing
Creed,
them.
that's
No one's
Yeah.
playing them, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even
Exactly.
matter.
Yeah, but it's good to know that you deeply understand the thinking, the minds of Ubisoft. We can come to you for
Yeah,
these because I guess you identify with them so well.
I do. I relate so heavily to Ubisoft. I feel we're, you know, one and the same in
Kindred
some
souls.
ways. Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Our next topic, Forspoken, has been delayed again.
Oh,
Originally,
yeah.
originally supposed to come out in May 2022, got delayed to October 2022.
Yeah.
And I guess with the announcement of God of War Ragnarok, they're like, oh, we don't want to be right in between The Last of Us Part 1 and God of War Ragnarok. Let's fuck off somewhere else. And they've moved to January 2023.
Right.
Me and Sheps both have kind of been lukewarm on this game. We like it because Amy Hennig's attached to it.
Right.
But other than that, it's like, I don't know. I mean,
the pros. The movement stuff looks interesting. It looks like it'll be engaging to actually play.
yeah.
Amy Hennig's attached to the story, and the chicks are painting.
Yes.
Downsides: we know nothing about the game.
Yes, true.
You know, like Amy Hennig is attached to the story, but like, what is the story? We have no ideas. Nothing
Yeah.
except that there's a sassy bracelet or something.
Yeah,
like,
a
that's
bracelet.
all we know.
Yeah.
So
I thought you was gonna go like pros. The main character's a painting. Cons. The main character is a woman, so we can't unfortunately.
I did forget about that. It's a good
Exactly.
point. In fairness, though, she's being led by the male bracelet.
True.
So,
True.
as in all things, you take female talent, but like male brains.
Exactly.
You know,
Okay.
and that's
the way it
perfect.
Oh, dude. Jesus.
For legal
You're a bit
reasons.
more excited about Forspoken than we are. Is that right, James?
I want it to be good. It's one of those games where I really like the concept of like what they're going for, like a whole magic-based combat and stuff, and they're really playing around with that. I think it looks really interesting as a concept. So like, I really want it to be good. But everything we've seen of it, like, there's a lot of jank. Like, it looked really unpolished when we first saw it, and like, yeah, sure, that's early gameplay or whatever, but like, it looked fucked.
Yeah. Hey man,
So-
it was an old build, okay?
It was.
It's an old build
Yeah,
from
that's-
January, guys.
Yeah. But it's, you know, I want it to be good. I don't know whether it will, but hopefully the more time they have to polish it, then maybe, you know, it'll come out looking great. But like you said, we know nothing, so.
Can I ask you a question? You said this just now. The more time they have to work on it, the more time they'll have to polish it.
Mhm.
I used to think like that, but I guess because
But then you bought loads and loads of Cyberpunk merch.
Yeah, that's it. I think because I've been
Yeah.
burnt so hard by them, I don't understand this just blind belief that everybody has for this idea that it's like, well, if they delay it, it's guaranteed to be better.
Right.
It's guaranteed it'll be good.
Well,
Come
I don't
on
think it's
now.
I don't think it's guaranteed to be good, but I
Well, that's
think
what people
that
talk about.
They
it.
do make- they always make
it can
the
only
argument.
be better, right? It can't be worse.
I mean,
So-
we don't know. We don't know what it was like before to
Well,
know what it's going to be
I
like
know
in
what-
the end. We assume it was bad.
I get
and
what
then
you're
it
saying.
got a bit better.
Like, if it comes out this broken after the delays, how broken would it have been
Right.
had it come out
Yeah.
earlier? But the problem is, we only get to see how it comes out.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we're slightly older, I mean, like all of us, than a lot of our audience. And when we were growing up, games came out finished.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
would buy a game and it would work.
It was just there, done.
Mhm.
You'd like, consoles didn't have to be attached to the internet and download like 5 GB patches, which at the time would have been massive. Imagine if you'd have got Halo 3 when it came out, stuck it in, and had to wait 4 hours on your freaking dial-up or super basic
For a 1 meg
broadband.
update.
Right.
No.
For updates. Like, no, the game came out, you put it in, you played it. That's also one of the sort of convenience that we sell by saying like consoles are worth getting. Like, yeah, we have PCs and stuff, but like consoles are worth having because you know anything you get, you're going to stick it in, it's going to work.
Yeah.
But that's not actually true, because if your internet isn't any good,
Now that's very much not true. Right.
right.
No.
And like, I'm with you, it probably would have been worse if it had come out earlier, but that's no excuse for it to not work when it does eventually come out. The point of the delay is to get
Of
it,
course.
and people just seem to be like, well, if it's delayed, it's
It's a
going to be
blind
better.
belief, yes. So
Yeah.
that's the
I
only,
guess you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like, you know, if it's coming out later, look, they've got the time to polish it. Hopefully, it's good. If it comes out and it's bad, then it's bad, and it's, you know, that's just the case.
I just
But-
think James is defending it because it's a PlayStation exclusive, because he's a pony.
You
He is a
know,
pony.
that could be it. Yeah.
He's a Sony pony.
It's the only
Yeah.
logical.
If it were an
explanation.
Xbox, I think I'd be shitting on it. To be honest.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
that makes
Exactly.
sense.
That's the rules. If you say anything positive for PlayStation, is what happens. Okay, just welcome to our world, James. Welcome to our world. I would say I think we probably shit on PlayStation about 4 times in this episode. People will still say Sony pony. These fucking guys.
Oh yeah,
Can you believe it? Fucking
there's so much
comments
stuff
like
we actually do constantly beef out Sony. Just people. The real thing is for us, I think Xbox just makes little slips, but so often and so consistently, and because there's such huge gaps between anything actually exclusive, that it's all we have to talk about with Xbox is either their
gap.
mistake or the gap in games.
that.
Yeah,
So
true.
it
And the thing
sounds-
is, it's like what you're looking for in gaming as well. They don't do. So
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like there's
Right.
there's rarely a positive focus for you. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
they do fuck up so often that it's so easy to make fun of Xbox.
It is.
They're
But,
like
as an
EA and
example-
Ubisoft. Like it's easy to make fun of them.
Right. But like we've always said, anytime Forza comes out, people go, oh, but Forza. We're like, yeah, Forza's going to be incredible. It's going to be a graphical masterpiece. The sound engineering is going to be insane. And it's not a game we care about. Functionally, they could get away with a lot of quote-unquote cheap, like, reskinning of things. It just needs to be graphical updates on a lot of things. Although they do go above and beyond that. It's sort of a FIFA-esque game. There's not a huge amount that needs to go into it. They do go above and beyond, but they don't need to. They could get away with not. And there's no story in it. We want
And
story,
it's-
and
it's not something that changes any conversation. Like no one's gonna be like, well, I interpreted the wheel squeaking as a commentary on
Right.
What? It's
like
just,
you
it's
like you
just
get
drive.
you get the games like
Sure.
the all sorts of, like perfect examples, right? The Last of Us, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is a discussion about should studios be allowed to do these ambitious things they've never gone near, right? Going from Infamous Second Son to Ghost of Tsushima, no one should have greenlit that project, and we're really lucky that somebody did. God of War and The Last of Us and Horizon, all about like graphical storytelling and all that shit, right? There's a discussion there. Forza and FIFA, while they do have a lot of technical things, and I know FIFA's not exclusive, but you know what I'm saying. Like they're not changing any discussions. No one's like, oh my god, thanks to Forza 6, now this is possible, right? Like no one's really talking about that. There's no story there, and I think that's really one of the reasons we pick on Xbox so much. And it's not just that they don't make the games we're interested in. It's that I think because they don't make the games we're interested in, that the guys on Xbox aren't paying any attention to other sides of gaming, which is really bizarre because the big titles that do so well on Game Pass are those kind of games.
Yeah.
It's those games that are and were so good, but the most recent stuff's from like 2016 and it's third party. And I feel like Xbox has forgot that they used to make not just good games, they used to make the best games.
It's
Yeah.
they got themselves in a. No, we've moved on from getting into a broader discussion about like what may be wrong with Xbox.
Luckily, we're
here,
on a
but
gaming podcast.
Luckily, we're in the right place to do that. But Xbox, I think they gave up at one point. Unfortunately, they had the ability at one point to do games themselves and make great games themselves. And at one point, I guess after trying a couple of times with like Gears of War that didn't set the world on fire.
Gears was the last one. That's the
And
one when
then-
they fully gave up.
And then
just said,
yeah,
"We're
and
not doing
then
it
like
anymore."
the Halo before Infinite didn't exactly set the world on fire. Like Halo 5 that people just regard as not a great game. They gave up and they said, "All right, instead of trying, we're just going to buy. We're just going to buy something big." And unfortunately, that plan is a long plan. That plan is like a 10, 20 year plan.
Yeah.
And now they're stuck in this moment where they didn't try and they're not trying to make anything. And they're just waiting for hopefully these things in 10 years' time to give them something. And all we can do is criticize them in the meantime. And that's the shitty part we're in right now.
Yeah.
It does suck because the problem is that you weren't really an Xbox guy.
No,
But, like,
no, it wasn't.
The 360 was such a good console, man, and like it was the best place to
great.
play stuff. Like it really was. Like the UI was incredible. The like actual like the fact that you could have party chat while playing different games and stuff, it was incredible. It was like a separate feature. Everybody does that now. PS3 didn't do that. You know, like it was a nightmare doing stuff on PS3, and the audio quality was awful. And then you had like the Halo franchise. Like, oh my god, Mass Effect. Like all of these games just ran better on the 360. it used to be like really, it used to be the home of gaming. Just the PlayStation sold more because it had the Blu-ray player and like the Japanese JRPG market. Like that's the reason I really got my PS3. Ultimately, was for like Final Fantasy stuff, you know. But like if I wanted to game, it was on my 360, and then The Last of Us comes out, and suddenly I'm looking at the PlayStation like, actually there might be some seriously good games here, and then they just kept on that trend, and Xbox didn't. Like, it used to be the place.
Yeah, it's almost like Xbox and PlayStation used to compete, and PlayStation started to do so well that Xbox thought, we literally can't compete. We're going to go in the opposite direction instead of even trying.
Unfortunately,
so it kind of sucks to see, because I would love to see Xbox, you know, try and make those games again. Because although I do like a lot about Xbox as a service and just as a ecosystem, I guess I enjoy Xbox. I would love to see, like, because Halo Infinite, yeah, it was, you know, the story was good, but like it wasn't great, and the multiplayer is absolutely fucked. The game is dead. And it's such a shame to see something like Halo end up there.
It's awful, isn't it?
And it makes you wonder, like, what's going to happen to Fable? Like, a game that I've waited for so long, for Fable to finally come back. And it's like, how is Xbox going to handle this? Especially if it's coming to Game Pass day one. Because it's like, well, then, is it going to be a live service? Like, are they going to be cutting corners? Is it just going to be, like, really cheap? Like, because you can't put a game of high quality on Game Pass and make a profit. So the game has to cut corners somewhere, or it has to be a live service. Like, there's got to be a reason to keep people coming back, an in-game store, you know, all of these elements you're considering when thinking about what they could do with Fable. And so it's a little bit worrying. But
Fable's my line in the sand, actually. Like, I've always accepted that Halo's dead, to me. It's after, like, 3 in Reach. 4 was so disappointing, 5. Like, I've come to terms with that. It's been enough years now. But the idea that they could ruin Fable, like we've always said, you know, we want a strong Xbox, because if Xbox was to make games that competed with the stuff that you can get on PlayStation, it's going to keep PlayStation honest, and it's going to keep them on their toes, and they'll keep making bangers. As it stands, they can get lazy, because what else are you going to play?
Well, we saw what they've done. Now they don't do anything other than just put out those games that, granted, we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
But they've lost all of the flavour of PlayStation.
Well, there's also no incentive now, obviously, to make a big event out of it, because there's nowhere else to go. You have to come here, so when it comes out, you'll know about it, you'll get the game. We don't need to do an event. And so I've always said, look, I want a strong Xbox for these reasons, but I will say if they ruin Fable, that's it. I won't care about Xbox's survival anymore. There's no point.
That'll be sad.
Ruining Fable will be a bridge too far for me.
I've never played Fable, so I don't have an investment in it, but I can see your passion.
It is really unfortunate, because well, this is the thing, you know, when I think about playing Mass Effect, like back in the day when it was out, I think about my 360. It was the best place to play these games, because it was a normal netcode, right? It wasn't the stupid proprietary bullshit. Everything just ran better on the 360. So I think about these amazing games. I think about my 360, all 3 of them, because I did get a couple Red Rings of Death. But like, it didn't matter. I kept buying them because it was a better console, so much better. And it is not sad, but like, you can't relate, because you only care about Xbox in the sense of where we are today.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have it.
I didn't have that experience.
I don't know. It is sad, because like, I'm trying to get for example, I'm trying to get Ed to play the OG Halos 1 to 3. Unfortunately, they never made any more after that.
They didn't. You know.
They didn't. You know, and
Which
the
is a
OG.
shame, but they could have ruined it. You never know. So
Exactly.
They didn't.
Yeah,
better to leave them wanting more. Don't go too far. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad they understood that.
Right. Totally agreed. So, like, I'm trying to get you to play those older games, and playing the Master Chief collection. Fair enough. Just so that you can sort of feel why people care about Xbox, because there's good reasons to care about Xbox. Not today, I would argue, compared to what's out there, but like it used to be. And I feel like the guys like me and James, who still well, maybe not James because he's an Xbox fanboy.
I'm an expert.
Yeah, you are.
Now he's an expert.
In a sense, like, but I always find myself trying to defend Microsoft, because I think back to those good old days when we were happy together, and I forget about the divorce, you know?
Yeah.
I forget about all those arguments that we had. remember the times we were happy. And the fact is, we were so happy. I was so happy with like choosing between Mass Effect or Call of Duty. The best place to play it on my 360, of course, you know, and Mass Effect and like Dead Space. I played all of those games on my 360. And the only place to play Halo, Xbox. There's nothing you can only play on PlayStation that's really worth it. This is my opinion of the day. Like, I kind of wanted you to get that sense and at least experience those games. And also see what it was like when BioWare made good games, when Bethesda made good games, when EA made good Call of Duties. You know?
EA?
Well, Call of Duty. They published good games, I should say. EA and Activision. When they actually cared enough to really make it impactful and took some risks, like the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, as we know, has some very risky stuff in it. Like, I loved the era when games would like kind of push boundaries and see what they could get away with.
We have lost not in the sense of like what you're saying. Then we've strayed a very far away from that in terms of like gaming community. Now there's a lot more bickering online. I guess because like social media's become a lot more bigger and stuff like that. And I feel like I contribute my share, but I don't feel like I go as far as half the people that I see online now that are just moaning for the sake of moaning. Like people that do the pixel comparisons of fucking shit.
I saw some
F1
racing
dumb
game
stuff
recently,
like that. I'm like, what? It's like, just why? Just
I feel like
do
all
you
of us
actually enjoy games at all?
Whenever the three of us argue or complain about a point, it's not to drag that side down. It's to say this should be better. Let's bring it all up. Because as we all know, when we all play, we all win.
Yeah. Phil Spencer's famous line.
There it is, yeah, exactly.
Words to live by.
Amazing.
I have to say, have you seen that's on the there was like the 20th anniversary controller? They printed that on the battery case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want it.
I can't. First of all, I was like, that is you've literally got a suit quote on your controller. That's pretty dumb.
The least self-aware thing ever.
Right?
That's
right.
so funny.
And there were people that were like, yeah, we'll buy that. Yeah. And I'm like, you guys are fucking dumb.
Yeah, and
but then,
I'll play it on my favorite game. Oh shit.
But I was like, what about the day when they do something bad? When either Xbox does something bad or Phil Spencer. Right. It's like there's,
people
you have
that name their kid Khaleesi.
Right.
And then season 8 comes out and she's Hitler.
That's what happens.
No.
Yeah.
Like you can't put stock in this kind of stuff. Like what happens if, God forbid, I don't want this to happen. What if one day something happens? We find some bad messages or some bad pictures of Phil Spencer and he's done something bad.
That's why I'm naming my kid Geralt. You know, or V.
There you go.
They'll never ruin those games.
Never ruin those characters.
That's a good point.
That was a good little discussion right there. Nice little organic
did we have any topics? I feel like I totally derailed that and I don't remember how I got started on it.
We got started somehow, but I don't know.
We definitely did, yeah.
It was good. It was a nice conversation. Next topic. Let me just hit my timer button here so I have my timestamps ready. A new Sony pattern shows that they are working on emulating old Sony hardware like the DualShock 3, Move controllers, even the iToy and the PSP.
Okay.
PSP Go, sorry.
Right.
To work with the PS5. I think that this is an indication, a step to actual PS3 emulation.
Yeah.
Because obviously there was a lot of accessories that go with PS3 games and they obviously have to work out the controls before they can to actually go, okay, here's the game.
This is native emulation, isn't it?
Native emulation with the PS5. So, for those of you guys that were complaining that you don't get PS3 emulation natively and you really care about backwards compatibility, I think that shit's coming. It's ridiculous that it wasn't there at the launch of the premium service. You're a fucking $1 billion company.
Right.
It's your console. Ridiculous you haven't got that worked out. But it's coming for you 5 people out there who want to play old PS3 games, okay? Let's go. All right.
Yeah,
yeah.
Again, this is like backwards compatibility stuff. Cool that they're doing it, I guess. What I want to see is the numbers. I want to see in like a couple of years the report on how many people are actually using this stuff, because I bet it's low.
This is the thing. I was under the impression that there are some people that want to play backwards compatible games on all systems. Not enough, I think, to warrant all of the headache to do it. Yeah. But if you want to do it for the sake of preservation or just keeping nostalgia for these great memories alive, cool, that's great. But but I don't think the numbers there in terms of money versus the amount of effort that goes into it, right? I think Xbox did it because they literally didn't have any other option. They wanted to give more people a reason to buy Xbox, make a great backwards compatibility so people have another reason to go to Xbox. But that's all the reason is. And I reckon had Xbox released numbers on how many people play the backwards compatibility games, it would be stupidly low. PlayStation one day they might, because they're a little bit more open with their numbers than Xbox is. And if we do see that, it's going to surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of people
you're
are
right.
like, oh, so this really wasn't worth it then. Okay, all right.
This is why I always ask James about like the old games and the games catalog and stuff that he plays, because you're one of the few people that I know that actually does it. I know a lot of people that say that they like it, and I know very few people. For example, I know a lot of people that played like the new Final Fantasy VII remake and went, man, I might go back and play the original, and then never went anywhere near an old Final Fantasy. And you went back to FF1.
I did, yeah.
And you're playing all of them.
I am
like,
doing that, yeah.
You're the only person that actually plays old games, unless it's like World of Warcraft is old, but it's been it's up to date. Like that doesn't count.
Kept up to date,
I think it does depend what people you speak to. I mean, most people I know play old games, and that's sort of all they play. I know, like a lot of my friends just sort of play old stuff, and they're not really keeping up with new stuff.
The mirrors in your room don't really count as friends.
You got me. Oh no.
It's like the little window next to the camera that shows himself.
Right,
That's what he's looking at.
Yeah, I thought that was someone else. But yeah, I don't know. I think it does depend on who you speak to. I think there are a lot of people that do, but it might be that maybe it's just because Xbox has always done backwards compatibility, but I get the sense that people who play Xbox are really into that. Like, same as like people that play PC, that like majority play PC. A lot of the times they're not playing new games. A lot of the times they're playing a lot of old stuff. They just sink a lot of hours into that. But I don't know. I do think a lot of people do like to play old games. I think that, I mean, from my perspective, I'd say you two are the ones that are the outliers here. Because just from the people that I speak to, a lot of people like to play old games. So it may just depend on the people you surround yourself with, the people you speak to. And because obviously you guys have a certain perspective, people that agree with you are going to be more drawn to that. And so, that might be the case. I don't know. But I would like to see numbers too. I would like to see how many people actually use these features, because I think that would be interesting.
It'd just be good for transparency's sake, just so we can get our head around things.
Yeah.
Also, it could be something that we're missing out on. Like, because it could just be that, like in my head, I'm like, I only want to play new stuff, right? And old stuff is dated, but that's because I'm not really saying I don't want to play old stuff. I'm saying I'm focused on new things. But if the numbers come out and it turns out actually the majority of people think these old games are worth going back to, then I might just sit down and give it a real bit of attention.
Like if someone came out and went, hey, do you know what, this one game on the service,
right?
Everyone seems to be really attracted. Like everyone was talking about when the PS Plus service came out, they were like, Ape Escape. And I'm like, I never played Ape Escape, and it doesn't look like a game that I would enjoy. But if the numbers came out, it was like 100% of people who got the thing went right to Ape Escape. And I was like, shit, should I be trying this game? Have I missed the boat on something?
Right.
It's a bit like with Assassin's Creed. Everyone told me, it's like, you never played Assassin's Creed. It's not really your thing. Get the Ezio collection. Same with the Batman collection that I've set up and still haven't played the Arkham City. I was like, I've never played Arkham City.
You've never played Arkham City? What the fuck?
Don't get me started.
First of all, it's a terrible character.
Have you played
No one likes Batman.
Have you played any of the Arkham games? Like Asylum?
I played Arkham Knight, but that's apparently one people don't like.
Yeah, Knight's the one.
I'd say that's probably the worst one.
I misspoke a while ago.
I started at the best place then.
I misspoke a while ago because I knew that the one you had played was the one that wasn't very good. Yeah. And for some reason in my head, I got it in my head that was City and not Night. I got it back to front.
Oh, right.
And so I said,
wasn't happy about that.
Yeah, I said, City's not regarded to be very good, because it just was in my head that whatever he said was the one that wasn't good.
Why do you think we didn't read out correcting Conbrosations? Because
it's just always me. Those games are incredible. You should definitely play them. Spoiler alert, he solves all of his problems with money.
Oh, is it?
That's all he does. He just pays off the criminals. If you give him enough money, you don't have to do the life crime. They just go home and
do you know what?
Make smart investments.
Good point. The thing is, though, I don't like the real reason why I don't like the Batman games. I played like Arkham Knight. The real reason why I don't, is because sometimes like I would like kick someone off of a roof, but obviously I didn't kill them.
Right.
because Batman doesn't kill.
He doesn't kill anyone.
And I refuse to play a game, anything really, watch anything where Batman does kill someone.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you can't kick someone off of a roof. I think you just made that up. You know what? I'm going to correct Conbrosations here. I'm going to say that's
I will tell you
that's
for a
cap,
fact.
as the kids say.
That's not cap. For a fact, you can drive the tank. What's it called?
You can drive
Over
into people.
No,
yeah.
in my mind you can't.
But it
in my
has-
mind
It's
you
like
can't.
80 tons of merkage.
But it
I'm
has.
sorry.
But the way they explain it is that it has like an electric field. So when you hit someone, it zaps them and knocks them out, and then sends them flying away, and
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
fine. and
okay.
alive.
Right.
That's
They go
fine. Yeah,
flying
yeah, that's okay,
100
yeah.
meters.
No,
Hit with
Yeah.
something. An electric field at 8 miles an hour is different to hitting the car.
In my
Yeah,
mind,
well,
that
look,
never
there's
happened.
a reason why
okay?
Night
Yeah.
isn't that good.
In my
you know?
mind, that never happened. Ben Affleck was the only person that's ever done anything wrong. Okay?
Right,
I just
right,
wanted to
right.
put that. That's how my mind works.
So
I agree.
based,
I agree.
Eddie.
I'm just exact. Thank you very much. Thank
Based.
you. Based.
Based,
Exactly. It's
yeah.
the only time
Yeah.
that ever happened.
Sigma male
Right.
take that.
I also ignored the final parts of the Dark Knight Rises. Okay, even though he shot missiles at a fucking truck. Don't worry
Don't
about
worry
no,
about
it didn't happen.
Don't worry
Didn't
about the
happen.
50 cal machine guns.
No, it didn't happen. It's okay.
Don't worry about leaving people on a train to die and what that train crashes
I'm
into.
not
Don't worry
getting.
about that.
I'm not getting baited into this. We will be here all
Don't worry
day
about that.
if we have this conversation.
This is the
What about all the people he beats up in the house that's burning down
No, that didn't happen as well. He didn't.
and
do
leaves
that.
them unconscious in there to
Did-
die of smoke inhalation? That, I mean,
Ignore that as well.
Yeah.
Ignore that as well.
Cool.
But fucking, he stabbed someone.
Yeah, with a knife.
and then shot a propane tank as well.
Right, true.
Fucking
True.
Ben Affleck.
Murderer.
Oh, grrr.
Stay mad,
Terrible.
haters.
So mad.
Stay mad.
I just, the thing is,
I didn't even say anything. I didn't even say anything. You mad?
Oh god, I love it.
I love that.
Okay, and the one final thing is a very small thing. Sony revealed a bunch of new headsets and monitors.
Yeah.
I am a fucking loser, and I fucking looked up the monitors, and I was
Yeah.
so close to buying one, but it's so dumb because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
If you're interested, 2 monitors, one's 1080p, 240 hertz, 4K, 144 hertz. The 4K one's £1,000 if you want it. Headsets.
I just don't need $1,000 on a monitor. You
This
know?
is the problem.
That's
I do
wild,
need
man.
I do need a high refresh rate monitor because I haven't been able to try any of the 120 FPS stuff or the
Yeah.
variable refresh rate stuff on PS5, and I hear it's amazing.
It's not that noticeable. I'm a frame rate simp.
Are you sure?
I'm a frame rate. It's good. Once you get used to it, like, you know, if you set the game to a different mode, like you could change, like, say, Ghost of Tsushima, you could set it to like FPS mode or high fidelity.
Yeah.
If you switch it, you notice it for like 10 minutes. If you just keep playing, then you
It's
just
gone.
know you prefer it or not, and then you swap. You go to whatever you like and you just stick there. And then you can't tell. That's just how it is. And that's the same with variable refresh. And then people make a way bigger deal out of it than it really is.
James, do you have a high refresh monitor or anything like that? Do you play any
No.
games at high refresh?
No,
Because he's
the
always
highest I go
playing.
is 60.
He's
I'm
always
too busy
playing old
playing-
games.
He's playing games
Yeah,
that
well,
barely
I'm playing
manage
them on
30.
Xbox, so they're
Right.
incredibly high frame rate,
Yeah.
boosted all the way. Phil
FPS boost,
Spencer
baby.
patched them
Yeah.
single-handedly.
He's there coding himself. He's like,
He's the one
Uh,
doing it
he's
behind
like
the scenes.
he goes into the line of code where it says frame rate. It says FPS 30. He just changes that to a 60. Done. There you go.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
He's like, Bioshock needs to be 60. It needs to be 120. We got to
Yeah.
push the boundaries of gaming.
That's
Done.
right. That's right.
Yeah, the headsets do look quite nice, but they're a bit expensive as well, like
Yeah.
£300 almost, like stuff like that. It's,
Oof,
if
it's a
you're
lot.
the only thing that I found interesting is that one of them has the highest model has a noise cancelling mode, and they have something called ambience mode, which apparently is like wearing no headphones,
Yeah.
so you can hear your surroundings. And I was like,
But I'm trying to ignore my surroundings.
that's the whole point of the headphones. I don't get it.
Yeah,
What's
just take them off.
what?
Yeah.
Like, why would
What?
you? Like, you just like? Do you just like feeling something on your ears, but
Yeah,
you don't
we've
want
made
it to
our
like
headphones
what?
so they can basically hug your head and do nothing.
That's so stupid.
I'm sure I'm missing something. I'm sure I'm missing because it just
That's
sounded
so
dumb
weird.
to me.
I guess. Okay. I guess you could make the argument that, like, if you've ever been like surprised by someone coming in, you know, because you
Right.
can't really hear what's going on, then if you're able to hear, it's sort of like playing the game with the TV sound, right? So like you can still hear what's around you, so you're not going to be surprised by like Isla walking in behind you,
Okay.
right? Like I kind of get that, but the whole point of you having the headset on
It's to lock
is
it
to
out.
get out of your life with this unwanted child and
Yeah.
this woman you don't love, this house that you
Yeah.
can't afford,
Yeah.
you know, crushing weight
Yeah.
of bills on your existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just for once, escape into a life that you would like to live, like in a zombie apocalypse
Exactly.
or a robo-death world
a Norse land with
Right. with
monsters
women that
attacking
hate you and an unwanted child. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Or in James's case, a place with people with big swords and big titty chicks with low cut tops. And
I'm
shit.
sorry, are you trying to make this sound bad? You're selling
Yeah,
me
I'm not
very
really
well.
doing a good job, am I?
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny is that, like,
Let me just introduce you to Tifa, and then we'll come back to this.
I have to say,
Oh, yeah.
that what was it? There's this one website in Japan, obviously it's Japan, that sells statues and figurines
Yeah.
of like prominent video game characters. Usually they're female,
Yeah, of
and they're
course.
in the most ridiculous poses ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that one Tifa one that I posted on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I was like,
Yep, I
I was
do.
considering it. Yeah.
you was considering.
I was thinking about making it a donation goal. I'm like, guys, if we can hit this donation goal, I will
Right.
get it, and I
Well,
will have it.
We'll start
Somewhere
the
behind me
hentai doll
visibly.
collections. Yeah.
Yeah, it would kickstart me off. It's the gateway drug. I get the Tifa one, and I'm like, you know what? I could do with. She could do with some friends.
Before you know it, he's got an aquarium behind him with just octopi all everywhere.
So, babe,
If we hit the goal, I'll throw the Tifa statue in. And we'll
inside,
see. We'll recreate.
and the
Rule
octopus is
34.
like touching all the spots. It's like, no. Oh god.
Yeah, it's all under the guise of, well, I'm doing it for money, but like I really
Right.
want to do it. You know?
Right. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's how all women, like all the OnlyFans chicks get into stuff now. They're like, well, for the money, I'm gonna get a tentacle. I'm gonna put it in my ass. It's like, God.
Definitely the wrong
For the
podcast for
money.
this. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's all the topics that we had today. Is there
Wow.
any little comments you guys wanted to make on anything there?
I mean, I feel like we
We
ended-
droned on.
we went on a little bit, and we ended up in a very, very dangerous monetization place.
Yes, we did. We did
And
indeed.
this isn't the FPN, so we should be considerate of monetization.
True. When we're over there, we don't care. So there is that.
It's true. It's not our channel. It's not our analytics.
Exactly.
And look, if we get a second channel shadow banned, that's one thing. As long as they're both not ours.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
One for
Yeah.
us, one for them.
Yeah,
you
there
know.
we go. There we go. We need to put
Yeah.
a video on James's channel one day. We need to.
Let's re-upload the Vajankle onto James's channel.
Vajankle. Do you know about the Vajankle, James?
I don't.
Don't talk about it. You will get this channel
Yeah,
demonetized.
let's just Google search that and then for yourself, and you're good enough there.
Conversations and Vajankle.
Sorry.
It's a Conbrosations and Vajankle. Because you didn't do what I did suggest, which was to review the Auto Blow 2, and I did say you should do that.
I would have been known as the guy in the community though that used
been-
an Auto Blow 2.
Yeah.
I feel like you're known as that anyway. You know?
Oh, okay. Well, then I
Yeah,
should have
exactly.
done. Then I should have done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
James is known as the guy for advice. You and Zach took his advice. It's obviously working out well,
Exactly.
True.
exactly.
right?
Mm.
And so you could have been the guy that fucked a flashlight. Or
By the
flashlight,
way,
or whatever
James,
it's called.
we've started a trend now with that T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I
Did you see
know.
Zach's pics? Yeah.
Zach's-
Amazing.
The next person has to now get a picture of Zach wearing that T-shirt.
Yeah.
and put it on
Oh,
a
it's gonna be
T-shirt.
amazing. It's just gonna
It's gonna
keep
be great.
going.
It's going to be
I
like
can't
one of
wait.
those infinite mirror things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we are gonna read some comments over here because we do actually have a successful, fully functioning Discord server.
We do.
Successful. I mean,
Suc-
is any Discord server really successful? Is really the question, isn't it?
The thing
The thing is, we're trying to rub this in, but James loves the fact that Discord's gone.
yeah, he's quite happy.
Yeah. There's a
quite
reason
happy.
I did it.
First, actually, I'm gonna read from Patreon. Our good boys over there. And when I say good, I mean we hate these people over on Patreon. We've
I
got
thought
the-
you were going for the dog thing, you know, like good boy,
Good
pat on
boy,
the head,
good
yeah.
we have this thing where all the people who don't pay us we like, and all the people that do pay us we despise.
Yeah, James, you familiar with Findom?
Yeah.
That's what we do, and that's what we do.
I
over
love
here.
the.
Oh,
Should I admit this?
Should I admit this on camera? I don't know.
Yeah, that's our business model.
exciting.
That's
Yeah.
our business model.
Gamsmaster wrote in and he says, "G'day, bros. It's really disappointing that Rockstar has decided to scrap the plans for remastering Red Dead Redemption 1 and GTA 4. I never got the chance to play either of them on my old 360, and I'm not about to go buy one just to play them. It may be the best that they don't remaster these beloved games, considering how much of a train wreck their last remasters were. That is a very good point.
That is a very good point.
While I would have liked them to bring it back, like we said, they didn't do a good job with the last ones. They didn't treat those with any respect. Right. So what's to say they would do it with this one?
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Games Master, for bringing up a topic we've already talked about. This is a great segment.
No,
that's why I don't read the comments.
Frick you, Games Master, for not watching the podcast before you wrote into the podcast.
Exactly.
A couple of interesting ones here.
Go on.
BS Bro number 1, aka Alpha Quilila, says, "Oh, go away! I'm not watching James." And then
You are.
yeah, friend. Brefman says, "I have a question for James. Why did I see you fondling two boys in the nuts in an alleyway last night?" I actually just saw a question for James. I kept reading, and it got dark.
It got dark right there. There's fondling boys.
Apparently, you're gay nonce. So
why are you fondling boys? That's what we want to know.
Never mind. I genuinely thought it was a real question, and I wasn't trying to ambush you with a thing, which I've already ambushed you a bunch this podcast. It totally would have been me.
That's an interesting point, though, because Brefman's mum does think I'm a gay nonce. So, you know, there is that.
Okay.
Well, you didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
I didn't. I don't find it shocking, but I didn't know.
His mum thinks that me and Tyler are gay nonces. She's convinced.
Well, I mean, Tyler's obviously. I thought it was actually his job role, isn't? That's on his LinkedIn, right? That's how I found him. So.
Maybe it should be
professional gay nonce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the next? These questions are the problem. Okay, I'm actually Team James for Discord here. If we ask you a question, answer that freaking question. If we're doing an episode for Streamcast and you boys have been whining non-stop for 7 weeks that you want us to do frickin' The Boys, when we come to The Boys, don't write your reviews for frickin' Miss Marvel.
That's true. These guys are actively against us on this.
Dickheads.
So there was one topic that I forgot to bring up that it's only a minor thing. Sucker Punch came out and they said that they're actively going to stop patching Infamous Second Son.
Yeah.
And they came out to announce that they aren't working on, and no one they know is working on a Sly Cooper or Infamous game currently.
Yeah, it's been given to some unknown.
Well, no,
like they've greenlit the idea of the project, but no one knows who's got it.
Well, no, they just said there's no one working on it. They said there's no project in the works. Like,
but Sony said they're getting done, didn't they?
I don't think so. I think there was a rumor, and there was a rumor by a guy called Nick, who's on like an Xbox podcast. But yeah,
I thought these were confirmed, but just no one. We knew that Sucker Punch weren't doing it; that they'd been given to somebody else, but we didn't know who. That's what I thought the news was.
Let me see if I can find the exact quote here.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll read Giuseppe. Giuseppe says, I don't know why he's lying. For James says, that's awesome to see James is on this episode. Looking forward to it. Weird. I don't know why he looking forward to said that. He must not know who you are or have seen any of the content.
He's finally able to tune in. This might be the first time he's ever watching the podcast.
Well, I mean, normally it's us, so he tunes in all the time, you know?
I think it's the opposite. I think he's like, finally, I can listen to this podcast.
Right,
and he'll
well,
realise that he probably shouldn't have.
Maybe. I think we're both right here. What it actually is he's gone, finally, James is surrounded by people with talent. Now I can stomach listening to him. So he knows of your podcasts, but he never manages to tune in because you're either talking to Tyler or Gerg or someone, right? And now he's like watered down by the talent that is Conbrosations.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That is an argument you could make. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think I'm wrong here because he has some terrible takes. He says a Horizon TV show would be awesome even without Aloy. There's a lot of potential stories there. Totally wrong. Rockstar's a milking machine, so we'll see. That is correct. PSC backwards would be great. No one gives a shit about the PSC, bruv. It's old. And he says, I'm glad to see Sucker Punch still making the Spider-Man games. There you go, yeah.
Because it is Sucker Punch who's making
Sucker
the
Punch
Spider-Man
makes
games.
Yeah, we know this, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. Let's see, hold on. Did you find, what are you looking for?
Thank you for holding down the plans. Here we go. So,
what are you looking for?
So here we go. There was a statement that was put out by Sucker Punch.
Okay.
So they said, As we approach the 25 years, like Cooper's, our games are interesting. It also confirms that we. Where the fuck is the actual quote? You bloody sons of bitches!
While you're looking for that, Tailgate just said something actually interesting about the Horizon Zero Dawn TV show, and he said set during the Pharaoh Plague. If the show was set during the apocalypse, that would be interesting. Not like the lead up to it, or maybe like a couple of episodes just lead up to it, and then it's set in that, and they're trying to figure out. I presume it would be sort of like Skynet, where it starts off, things are bad, but it gets progressively worse. You know, the timeline gets shorter and shorter near the end. The idea of like, okay, well, we have a couple of years to get from, okay, oh shit, things are out of control, to, okay, we are going to lose. We have to set Zero Dawn in motion. That could be more interesting. I have no interest in the build up to it. You know?
Maybe. Yeah. I still don't want it, though.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Better, maybe.
Yeah, that could be, but I tend to agree with you.
I've got the quote now if you want to.
No one cares. What's Skull and Bones?
So, Skull and Bones.
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
It's a Ubisoft game.
Never mind.
Nobody cares.
It doesn't matter. Cool.
We have this joke that we have on the show where we go, like if Ubisoft announce something, we talk about it for 1 second. We're like, Ubisoft Heartlands is releasing in November. Great. Next topic.
Right.
Yeah, he saw gameplay of it, says it looks interesting. But then he asks, since James is on here, I wonder how much of Eddie and Shepsy can take before the madness claims him.
Yeah, that is a question.
Mad.
I mean, he's already mad. What the fuck?
That's my secret, yeah. I'm always mad.
Turns into the Hulk.
Did you find your...
Yes.
What was the quote?
So, Sucker Punch released this statement saying, as our games continue to grow in scale and complexity, they require the full attention of our studio. With our focus on our current project... Spider-Man 2, obviously Sucker Punch, famous for that. We have no plans to revisit... What is
this meme that Sucker Punch makes Spider-Man? What is this?
So when Spider-Man was first announced,
yeah,
which studio did you think was working on it?
Not Sucker Punch.
Not Sucker Punch. You thought Insomniac, the guys making Ratchet and Clank, were going to be expanded. You don't think that Infamous, the way that they were traversing in Infamous Second Son, was closer to
Well, that is an argument, but I think that based on the fact that we knew who was developing the game, that it was not Sucker Punch, right?
What it was at the beginning, we all went, oh, it's Sucker Punch, because clearly it looks more like their kind of previous work. And then the amount of times we got corrected, we were like, well, it's Sucker Punch now.
Oh, right,
and that's just the end of it now.
Oh, I see.
So,
of course.
Continuing what I was saying, with our current focus on our current project, we have no plans to revisit Infamous or Sly Cooper right now, and no other studio is currently working on the projects related to those franchises either. Pretty definitive. Pretty definitive.
Yeah. Bastards.
So,
I mean, to me that makes sense. Why would they?
Yeah, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is far more alluring than anything. I mean, I would have liked a nice Infamous continuation, like a reboot of the Cole series and whatnot.
That would have been sick. Or a remake, even, just make it easy on them.
Yeah, but Ghost of Tsushima is very cool as well, and I'd like to see the sequel on that. They're not Insomniac, where they can work on 7 games at a time.
Insomniac are disgusting. No. They shouldn't exist. I do genuinely think... What's that thing from Harry Potter? You're a Potterhead. The time thing.
The
Time Turner.
There you go. Time Turner. I knew that, and I didn't say it.
You totally
and
did.
I hate Harry Potter.
I do genuinely think Insomniac has problems. And weirdly, though, you never hear articles about crunch coming from Insomniac.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's probably because they only do crunch.
It's their normal culture in their workplace, so they don't know any different. Yeah.
They're like, work harder than this? I don't see how it's possible.
Or they're all like Frenchie from The Boys, and they take away the whips and say you don't get the whips back until the project's done.
Oh, there we go.
And then they work harder to get the beatings back.
To get the beating.
Mercs is on the wrong server. He says, as you know, behind every great gamer is a great bathroom. My question is, why the frick isn't there a fan or some kind of coolant in bathrooms? Because it's 40 degrees here, and sometimes 40 degrees and sweating, it's hard to game and take a shit. So, good question. Don't know what server you were meant to write that on, bro, but like asking the hard shitting questions.
Nah.
Thank you, at least, James.
Good one.
And I'm not even a dad. hard shitting questions, like hard hitting questions, like because of the journalism. Right, and I added an S. You would have appreciated that. You're a Superman fan, an S.
It's true.
And then an S to shit. It's like Superman, more Superman.
The problem is that S doesn't actually mean S where I'm from.
I mean hope.
It means hope. So
now I see why the joke didn't make sense to you.
Exactly.
It just didn't land.
Quite get it the first
language
time.
barriers.
The language barrier for Kryptonians like myself.
I hate you and myself.
Oh, God. Whereabouts are you?
I don't know, man. BS Bro 1 started Sniper Pro Elite 5. Wasn't a fan of 4.
Who cares?
Yeah, you know? The thing is, I want to read their comments because they pay us. But equally, talk about stuff that we care about.
But they could pay you, and that could be it, you know?
That could be it.
You know, when you put it that way, that's a much more enticing business model.
Yeah.
I'm confused the way we are. I can't see where that comment was.
BS Bro, this is from yesterday, BS Bro 1. But also, then he's talking about he loves the stealth aspect of games. He feels sick after playing those old games like old Ubisoft games. Like, this comment's all over the place.
Did you read Diogo's comment, by the way?
Where? No.
I'll read this one here. This better not be too late. God of War Ragnarok has a release date of November. Collector's Edition, once again, has no disc. Why didn't Sony listen to people complaining about Horizon Forbidden West? And I told you, bro, that it's just because there's different SKUs. That's the only reason why they did it. And it fucking sucks. I hate that. How could you have a fucking steelbook with no disc in it? Ugh!
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's dumb.
So especially dumb. As we all just established, they could just put PS4 discs in. There is no thing here.
Then you'd have the minor controversy. People are like, I wanted it to go with my PS5, and now it's just PS4 on it.
Yeah, but all you do is you make it a PS4 disc and don't put that branding on it. Just make it a God of War cover.
Yes, that's true.
Done.
That is the PS4
solution. Disc. Like, come on.
That's the solution.
Could you not just put the game in, like, separate? Like, that's what they used to do, didn't they? You'd get the steelbook case
and the plastic,
and you'd get the normal game case with the game in it too.
What I'd saying is that people would say I wanted a PS5 version, not a PS4 version, and there'd be controversy there. But again, if you just do the art because it's a collector's edition, so it has like collector's edition art, it doesn't say anything. It's a PS4 disc. Boom.
We found the solution, the problem in this thing, and the solution that's required. The problem is that Sony sometimes are really fucking dumb.
Yes.
And the solution is to get rid of Jim Ryan. That's what we need to do.
And Phil Spencer. I think that would work.
If we get rid of both of them, honestly, we'll have a much better gaming system. Yeah, we would. Yeah.
Just above that, Mikey T says, the Horizon show sounds interesting. That time in the lore is fascinating, so it'd be cool to see how they expand and flesh that out. If it is shit, it doesn't affect anything with the games. That's a good point. Like the Last of Us show.
You're wrong, though. So.
I agree with you, James, that they shouldn't do it because it will affect the games. But it's not like The Last of Us. If they fuck up The Last of Us show, they are directly attacking the games. Yeah. This, they're not.
Maybe, but it's so separate. Like with The Last of Us, they can make a really shit Last of Us, and The Last of Us still exists. Like, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing, it depends whether this show, the Horizon show, is part of the game canon or whether it's just like this separate thing that is not attached. Because if they're trying to be like, well, this actually is a prequel to the games and like it's actually supposed to be telling the exact story of the games, it's part of the canon, then I'm like, that's an issue because you're directly attaching yourself to the games.
Yeah, if they're trying to reveal the hidden history and in the game it's hidden, then that's a problem because part of it being hidden is what makes the game what it is.
I have an issue with this is my brain working in a way, and it sounds like you guys aren't affected this way. Whenever something comes out in like movie form or like TV form, regardless of whatever type of media it is, I feel like it's legitimized because it's on the big screen, or even though it's not necessarily a cinema and whatnot, right? So like when something happens in animation for Star Wars, no one gives a fuck, right? It's just an extra little piece of thing that gives a little bit of backstory for these empty gaps in the Star Wars movies. But when they made the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, I was like, oh shit, this is real. If they fuck something up in here, then it affects everything, and it has affected it. Has affected it for me. There are parts now where I'm like, oh shit, I wish they didn't fucking do this because now it's in my head. And I feel like if they do a TV show of this stuff, I'm going to, whether or not they say it's canon or whether or not anything like that, I'm just like, yeah, but they fucking did it now and they, it's ruined. You've ruined it now.
Right.
You fucking,
right. Once you break it,
Yeah.
it's broken.
I don't accept
And
this whole thing where they're like, oh, it's not canon
Yeah.
anymore. It's like, fuck off, shut up.
Yeah.
You intentionally made it to try and be canon. You can't just take it out because you don't like it now.
And when you break something and then complain that, oh, no, just imagine we didn't break it.
Right.
But no, just don't break it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think my issue is like with something like this, it's going to be a completely different team working on this TV show. There's going to be no crossover pretty much from the people that work on these video games.
Yeah.
And so to me, that is like Sony have just gone, we want someone to make a TV show based on a property we own, go and do it. And so like I can completely separate that in my head to like an extent where it's like the people who love the game and work on the game and put all this passion into it don't have anything to do with this TV show, and it's not the story they probably wanted to tell. Like, it's got nothing to do with them. So even if Sony are like, no, it is canon, like this is a canon prequel or whatever, it's never gonna be that in my head because it's not made by the people who even made Horizon. So it's, you know.
It feels different to me though. Like, so another example of this. Who are you gonna say?
I will say with The Last of Us, I mean, Neil Druckmann's directing a whole episode on the thing. They've got while they have got Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, they're not playing the same
Bit
parts.
Yeah.
I love that they got them in there. I was like, what part are they gonna play? Like,
It's just a nod to the fans, isn't it?
they're gonna, like we made the joke, they're gonna play like a barista, something like that. It's gonna be so good dumb.
The thing about the games that you just said, James, for me, is I find it harder to separate this because something like Spider-Man, like Sony owns the Spider-Man films and the Spider-Man games, right? It's their IP, but the games are so drastically different. They have a different beat, they have different actors, they tell different stories to the movies. That for some reason those feel like totally separate projects. But the fact that this has gone, okay, we are making it a TV series about this game, whereas they happen to make Spider-Man movies and happen to make Spider-Man games. Do you know what I mean? There feels like there's that separation, and this feels like it's a direct addition into the everything Horizon, everything Last of Us. And that's where I think I'm concerned, because if it was just hey, we wanted to tell some cool stories in the Last of Us universe, we wanted to tell some cool stories in the Horizon universe, but not affect the games, like what's going on in like Robo UK or Robo Europe. Okay, let's see how did things go differently. Maybe we could tell those stories, but this is directly relating to Elizabeth, and I know it feels like it's just set up to fail, and unless it is actually perfect, it's going to fail, and even if it is perfect, people are going to complain, you know?
Yeah, I think probably the way that it, like, the most similar thing I can think of is, like, with the Halo TV show, is, like, that obviously has nothing to do with the games.
That was perfection.
Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah, they nailed that one. But no, I think it's the way that they're just completely separate. Like, I'm never going to have the Halo TV show in my mind when I'm playing the games.
But that's because Halo died in 2007 with Halo 3.
That's true. So I'm actually never going to be playing the games.
Right.
There's nothing more to play.
Yeah,
but like this is the thing.
point.
For me, genuinely, the Halo TV show was just beating a dead horse. Halo was dead at Halo 4 for me. I was done.
Yeah, sure.
So at this point, it is just beating a dead horse. I couldn't care less. You know, there's it's not even rubbing salt in the wound. It's just whatever. Like, I don't know why they keep ruining. It's a great IP. You could do so much with it, and they keep not. But I mean, whatever. Halo's dead. After Halo 3,
the wrong intentions at the top, isn't it? That's the problem.
Well, they're trying to make money, and they should be trying to tell cool stories, and that's exactly what they did with like with the thing with Kenobi is they tried to get a Reaver show off the ground, and what they should have done is told Kenobi story.
Show.
They should have given a show about Kenobi and Vader, and then we would have got the Vader show that we all want, and then Reaver, who could have turned up in both, and if they hadn't worked so hard to give her all those stupid parkour scenes to make her cool, to force her to be cool, she could have been a compelling character, and we probably would have watched a Reaver series. I don't care now. They should have focused on making good. Focus on making something good and cool, and then it naturally flows into the next thing. That's why The Last of Us 1 was so good. That's why Horizon was so good. That's why God of War was so good. That's why Ghost of Tsushima was so good. That's why we are desperate for the next one.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
I think the solution is just to make everything open world. Next game should just be open world of everything. That's what makes a game good.
And if you don't have enough story, just add question marks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
That is everything, I believe, right? Is that everything?
Yeah. I mean, there is a comment from Reese, not Reese.
Oh, hold on.
But it's covering more Horizon stuff, and I have read it, Reese, and I will hurt you. regardless. Just to, so
It's
there's
got
your
just Shep's digs all over it.
yeah. But
Amazing.
I'm just staring at the Jotnar edition of God of War Ragnarok, and I'm just
we have covered everything. I am surprised by how many of your comments, not yours, Reese, but like all of these comments are talking about the PS3 backwards compatibility. I don't. You guys seem to think this is a big deal. I don't get it.
Yeah, see, people care. People care.
Well, Hon, you don't be throwing the word people all fast and loose like that.
Exactly.
These are our
True.
subs and patrons. You know, the
our
people's a bit
patrons
strong.
aren't people. Okay.
True. I mean, viewers in general, they don't count. So,
I would tend to
Yeah.
agree.
I was a bit too quick there.
I wanted to ask one final thing. Final read, gut check, God of War Ragnarok. I know James was saying earlier a little bit that he's a bit worried because of like how things are being revealed and how things are going.
Oh yeah, how the
Especially
media's being handled. Yeah.
How now we've seen like fairly little of it, especially because we haven't seen a proper extended gameplay and whatnot. Gut check. James, you can go first. How do you feel about God of War Ragnarok? Do you think it will smack? Are you worried? Are you cautiously optimistic? What's going on?
There's a little bit of like worry in there, a little bit, but for the most part, I think that they've got this. It's probably going to be a sick game. I can't imagine it being bad. I just can't imagine it not being up to the level that God of War was.
Yeah.
So it's PlayStation's biggest game. It's their big flagship game. You've got a great team working on it. I don't think the marketing stuff is reflective of how much the dev team cares. I think there's just some sort of miscommunication. Something's going wrong behind the scenes, but I don't think what's going wrong is that the game isn't good. So I think that I have no reason to believe the game's not going to be as good as God of War 1 was. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's an interesting perspective from an expert, and you can totally ignore it. The game's going to flop. It's going to suck. The first one was shit. This one's going to be equally shit.
God of War, am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, so right.
There we go.
I sound like boring. Get it? Because it
Like
bored
war
me.
and bore have the same sounds.
Exactly, that's
Right,
what it is.
right. You just changed the first letter, but the sounds are mostly the same. Yeah.
I did have the only thing that made me kind of feel like this was going to possibly there could be an issue was that they changed the director. Corey was no longer the director on it, although he's still involved in some capacity, but he's working on a new project. But with the foresight of putting in the Knowledge Keeper's Shrine and that whole story and how it's going to play into the next one and a bunch of other things that I've seen, I have a feeling that the whole story of God of War Ragnarok and God of War was written out all in the same time. And I feel like it was already done, and not just a skeleton, I'm talking like a lot more than it.
Yeah.
Just needed to go in and fill a couple of holes and make things continuity work and stuff like that. And then it was handed over to Eric Williams, I think his name is.
Is it Eric Williams? Because is it him? I forget who it was, but one of the high up team leads worked on the original the original trilogy.
I think it was Eric Williams.
Is it Eric Williams?
Them,
I think, yeah. And the thing that I think people don't realize is it's not like he wasn't involved in 2018.
Yeah.
Right? So like he's been involved in this franchise the whole way through.
Yeah.
So it's not like they brought on an old guy like Halo Infinite had to do with Jason, what's his name, who's involved?
Jason Statham?
Statham, that's it. Jason Statham, who was the writer for Halo 3 and 2 and 3, I think. He was one of the lead writers. Yeah. Like, that smacks of like not knowing what you're doing. We need to get an OG guy in who used to make good stuff.
Yeah.
This guy has been involved in every single project and was obviously involved in 2018, so it's like handing it off to the second in command anyway. He knows the battle plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So handing off to the second in commander when you're already headed to the port.
Right. My only concern is actually you and me, like us, which is we've done a Cyberpunk and we built it up. If Cyberpunk had come out and been the game that it should have been, I still think people would have felt let down because of how high we hyped it up.
We hyped it up,
which is why I've been consciously telling myself my bar for Ragnarok is just that it doesn't drop the ball. I don't even need it to be as good as 2018. It just has to be different. You know, like same feel, but tell me a different story. Show me stuff I haven't seen before, and just don't drop the ball. Mm-hmm. And that's all it needs to be good. And I can hopefully be honest and say that it is good, but I prefer 2018. I don't want to kill this game by hoping it's even better. Like I don't want to have the expectation of what The Last of Us 2 did to The Last of Us 1 and just how good it was for this, because I don't think it's fair and reasonable. But I'm kind of doing it anyway in my heart of hearts.
Can I say one last thing?
No.
I like to be hurt. The same way that I was hurt by Cyberpunk, this game is going to be phenomenal, fantastic. There's no way it can fail, and we're going to end on that one note right there.
I actually hope it flops, and I want to see you be like, it's the best thing.
I hope it's the worst game of all time, so I can make a
is-
3-hour video essay on why it's bad.
Yes. And then I want a 3-hour rebuttal from Ed, just ripping all your points to shreds, but with no
Just
foundation.
literally going through is going to be me playing
Yeah.
James's video,
Yeah.
me on a green screen in the corner, and
Yeah.
just be like, this point right here is fucking dumb.
It's a stupid.
Obviously,
This guy's
Kratos
obviously
is
an
supposed to do that.
This guy's an expert. He doesn't know he doesn't understand the material.
Yeah. He's like, oh, Halo Infinite's great. Anyway, guys, thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the True Gamer Podcast. The next episode is our 99th episode.
Gaming.
We are going quite good. Please give us ideas for 100. Otherwise, it will just have to be something like a live episode. And, I mean, while that is basically what we're doing here, just recording it and giving it to you, maybe we could do something better.
Yeah, maybe we could put some effort in.
Yeah, you know, some effort, something like that. But thank you, James, for joining us on this episode. It's been great talking to
We
you, bro.
appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on. It was good fun.
Yeah. And if you ever want to come back again, feel free. Although we're not forcing you, don't worry.
Yeah.
Once a year is good enough. Once a year is
Once a
good
year,
enough.
it's what you get.
It's about all any of us can tolerate, to be fair.
To be fair. But I mean, it'll have to be twice actually, because I mean, we're gonna see him again when Tyler comes down.
That's right.
So shit.
Yeah, and whether he likes it or not, we're doing an
no.
in-person podcast. We'll just pull the camera out.
Yeah.
That's what James likes. Just whip it out in front of his face.
Whip it out in front of his face.
True.
Give him a smack
Big
on the chin
fan.
with it.
All right.
While Elva washes, like yeah.
All right.
good,
That's what
good.
she's into.
All right, we've got off track there. Thank you
And
everybody
this
for
is
tuning
definitely
in.
the wrong podcast for it.
We'll catch you guys all in the next one. See you later, boys.
Later, boys. Thank you for hanging,
See you,
James.
gamers.